Blue Planet, Linghai City, Linghai Number 1 High School. Students assembled on the playground, lined up in neat formation atop a teleportation array. On the podium, the principal of Linghai Number 1 High School began his speech. Today marks the launch of the Lord game. Have you all truly thought this through? You may withdraw at any time in the next 10 minutes before it begins. I hope you will protect yourselves well within the novice trial. All faculty and students offer our blessings, and we pray you all return home safely. Scenes just like this unfolded across the nation and every corner of the globe. Today was Lord Trial Day, shortened to Lord Day. Every young person on Blue Planet who had turned 18 could sign up at their schools to take part in the trial and enter the Sea of Chaos to become a novice lord. Countless races waged endless wars within the Sea of Chaos. To survive, human lords erected defensive barriers outside their world bubbles to fend off foreign races. Yet nothing came without a price. As the name, Trial, implied, the journey would be brutal. Death within the trial meant permanent death, so many chose to opt out of fear. No laws held sway inside the Lord Trial. Whatever transpired there remained known only to those involved. Down in the crowd, Suyu fought to steady his trembling heart, silently praying he would awaken a powerful Lord talent. Suyu was a transmigrator. In his previous life, he had been struck by a vehicle on his way home from work and arrived in this world. Orphaned with no family, no property, and nothing but a handsome face to his name, he had grown up in a welfare institute. With nothing to lose, Suyu resolved to become a lord and gamble for a chance to rewrite his fate. As a transmigrator, he dared to hope his luck would hold. He even daydreamed of gaining a system, just like the protagonists in the novels he had read in his past life. I absolutely have to survive. The 10 minutes slipped by, and the array lit up. Suyu suddenly felt the ground vanish beneath his feet. Darkness swallowed his vision, and he lost consciousness. Ding, welcome to the Lord Novice Trial Ground. Generating territory. Awakening Lord Talent. Distributing novice supplies. You have awakened. Sun within the heart legendary. Thud. Suyu tumbled onto a simple wooden single bed layered with dry hay. The bed creaked, but held firm. He sat bolt upright, brimming with excitement. Whoa, I hit the jackpot. A legendary tier, Lord Talent. Open Lord panel. Name, Suyu. Territory alias, unnamed. Level, 1. Lord Talent. Sun within the heart legendary. Affixes, none. Gold coins, 100. Structures, none. Wonders, none. Territory range, 200-200. Populace, forest elves. Troops, none. Heroes, none. Backpack, novice random barracks gift box ×1. Suyu tapped to view the description for Sun within the heart. Sun within the heart legendary. Your populace gain plus 20 initial loyalty, and their loyalty decays extremely slowly. Suyu was thoroughly satisfied. A loyalty-boosting talent. Perfect. Loyalty was a critical attribute. If subordinates' loyalty fell too low, they could easily defect, and in worse cases, betray their lord. Most lords would dispose of followers with dangerously low loyalty. Yet many hesitated when it came to vital heroes, eager to find ways to raise their loyalty instead. Every populace member held different wants, and some grew dissatisfied with their lord's actions, causing loyalty to erode. For instance, a noble paladin would see their loyalty plummet rapidly if their lord treated common folk like disposable livestock. Moreover, heroes and soldiers all required regular wages. Unpaid service would also chip away at loyalty. If loyalty could not be restored and the lord refused to dismiss or execute the unfaithful, defection was one risk, but betrayal from within could prove catastrophic. Every year, countless lords met their end at the hands of treacherous subordinates. Rarity tiers for lord talents, ascending from lowest to highest. Common, fine, elite, rare, sovereign, legendary, mythic, epic, primordial, immortal. The same tier system applied to troops and heroes. Most awakened ordinary common or fine talents. Those who unlocked a legendary lord talent were extremely rare across Blue Planet. That was why Suyu knew he had struck incredible fortune. Now for the novice random barracks gift box. Let me get something good, Suyu muttered to himself. Open. Obtained fine barracks. Jungle hunting training ground. Not bad. It's not the highest tier possible from the random box, but it's far from common. The novice random barracks gift box could yield elite tier barracks at maximum. For Suyu, anything above a problematic common grade result was acceptable. Fine grade barracks guaranteed a baseline combat strength, while common grade facilities offered no such promise. Troops trained there might not even be able to match his civilian populace. Territories, populace, talents, and gift boxes were all assigned randomly. The Lord game relied heavily on luck. Ding detected host has reached adulthood. One gold shop system bound successfully. This system refreshes 5 random items at 7 o'clock every day. Goods from this world or other realms all cost exactly 1 gold coin. Speak. Open system shop, mentally to browse and purchase merchandise. Whoa, I've got a system too. Su Yu's excitement surged. Calm down, don't get ahead of myself. I need to check what the shop sells. It would be a letdown if it's all worthless junk. Open system shop. A blue panel unfolded before Su Yu's eyes, displaying 5 items. The sight alone pulled a grin onto his previously restrained face. Hero, Talia Phil, Goddess of Abundance Epic. Price, 1 gold coin. Troops, Storm Magus Sovereign times 1000. Price, 1 gold coin. Gift box, Basic Resource Pack, contains 10,000 timber, 10,000 stone, 10,000 assorted common rations, 10,000 iron, 10,000 gold coins. Price, 1 gold coin. Affix, Oath of Eternity Red. Your populace's loyalty is locked at 100. Price, 1 gold coin. Hero, Iris Aragon, Sin of Pride Primordial. Price, 1 gold coin. So you could no longer hold back and laughed aloud. Once he regained his composure, he purchased every item listed in the system store. Purchased items have been transferred to your Lord backpack. Note, living units cannot be stored back within spatial inventory once summoned from the backpack. Su Yu opened his Lord backpack upon seeing the notice. The 5 items sat clearly in the inventory grid. He immediately activated the affix first. Affix obtained. Oath of Eternity Red. Your populace's loyalty is permanently locked at 100. Comment. Your legendary talent's loyalty boost may be overshadowed, but you still have me. Sun within the heart. Speechless. Affixes were exceedingly rare, and few lords ever acquired one. Su Yu had directly obtained the highest ranked red tier. Affix tiers from low to high. White, green, blue, purple, gold, red. The thrill of this lucky break was incomparable. He activated the basic resource pack, and the corresponding resources materialized inside his backpack. Next came summoning the heroes. He would call forth Talia first. Verdant light swirled to life in front of Su Yu, and a woman emerged, clad in a white robe trimmed with gold and embroidered with green patterns. Her waist-length hair glowed golden, and her emerald eyes brimmed with endless vitality. She possessed breathtaking beauty, wearing a gentle smile. She stood impressively tall, at least 220 centimeters, with fair skin and a graceful, statuesque figure. Slits in her robe revealed her legs covered in white silk stockings, and she wore white heels with green detailing. May the Mother of Life watch over you, my lord. Su Yu stared up at Talia. At 178 centimeters tall, his head only reached her chest. Greetings, Talia. Welcome to my territory. Su Yu mentally opened Talia's status panel to see the capabilities of an epic tier hero. Name, Talia Phil. HP, 100. MP, 100. Stamina, 100. Loyalty, 100. Level, Iron 1 star. Identity, Goddess of Abundance, Vessel of a Divinity. Race, Human. Origin Troop, None. Faction, Chaotic Good. Hero Command Bonus. Spellcasters gain plus 80 casting speed and plus 80 all attributes. Weapon, Codex of Life. Talent, Endless Vitality. Allied units regenerate 2 HP, MP, and stamina per second. Once health is full, any incoming healing converts into a shield, capped at Talia's maximum MP. Skills, Life Drain Damage Weakening, Life Blessing Healing, Feast Single/Allied Enhancement. Wage, 0 per month. Evaluation, Origin Unknown. The mortal vessel of the Mother of Life, wielding formidable healing and augmentation powers. She was a powerful support-type hero. Status panels did not display exact numerical values, only level tiers. Having fewer skills was normal, more would unlock as she leveled up. Su Yu scanned the panel thoroughly and could not be happier with Talia. Thanks to Oath of Eternity, Talia required no wages, and none of his followers would demand pay. If the Sin of Pride turned out to be a durable frontline combatant, everything would be perfect. Su Yu was still savoring his incredible fortune when he felt arms wrap around him, pulling him gently forward. His face came to rest against her torso. Talia held Su Yu and stroked his hair with one hand. Oh my lord looks absolutely adorable when lost in thought. Moments later, Su Yu twisted free, gasping for air. Huff, I almost couldn't breathe. His cheeks flushed as he drew in fresh air. Though the embrace felt warm and pleasant, he had quickly begun to struggle. I offer my deepest apologies, my lord. I failed to take my stature into account. Talia folded her hands, looking remorseful. That's all right. There is another companion for you to meet. Su Yu readily forgave her. Suyu summoned Iris Arigon, the sin of pride, from his lord backpack. Black energy manifested beside Talia, and a throne materialized upon the ground. Seated upon it was Iris Arigon. Her hair was pale as snow, and curved black horns rose from her head. Her scarlet crystal eyes held boundless arrogance. Her delicate, lovely face, paired with her petite frame, made her look like an exquisite doll, standing only 1.4 meters tall. She wore a black Lolita-style short dress, black tights covering her slender legs, and small black heels. A white-haired, red-eyed loli. "My lord, greetings." Iris spoke stiffly. Her innate pride made the act of greeting another difficult to bear. At the very least, she expected the lord to greet her first. After speaking, Iris fixed her gaze firmly on Suyu, waiting for a response. Suyu opened her status panel. Hearing her address him, he replied instinctively. "Greetings to you as well, Iris." Believing Suyu's reply to be a gesture of deference, Iris's mood instantly brightened. A faint blush tinted her cheeks, and she turned her head to regain her composure. Name, Iris Arigon. Identity, Sin of Pride. Race, Original Sin Demon. Origin Troop, none. Faction, Chaotic Neutral. Hero Command Bonus. All troops gain plus 100 attributes. Weapons, Throne of Arrogance, Great Sword of Original Sin. Talent, Hubris. Attacks ignore all enemy defense, damage reduction, shields, invulnerability, and immunity, dealing guaranteed true damage. Automatically evade attacks from foes of equal or lower level. She may choose whether to accept any external effects. Skills, Scorn reduce enemy attack and movement speed, repulse kinetic force, authority of pride words of power. Evaluation, origin unknown, 2 sources of pride. Her permanent 100 loyalty clashes with her pride, twisting her haughty nature into tsundere tendencies, but this only applies to you. 2 powerhouses. Though he was confused about the note stating her pride had warped into tsundere due to max loyalty. All right, Talia, Iris. Let us head outside. I have many tasks I will need your assistance with today. After reviewing both heroes' stats, Suyu prepared to get to work. As you command, my lord. Talia gave a slight bow. Since you have made this request of me, I shall lend you my aid. Iris remained seated, yet her floating throne drifted forward to follow Suyu. She subtly maneuvered the throne to edge Talia to the rear. Suyu pushed open the wooden door. Outside stretched a vast plain, with a forest several hundred meters to the left. It was an excellent starting territory. His next step was to recruit populace and assign them labor. Suyu opened his lord panel to summon civilians. Populace, Forest Elf, 1 gold coin per unit. Suyu recruited 20 forest elves. Spatial ripples spread, and 20 green-haired, pointy-eared elves materialized, 10 male, 10 female, all possessing striking features. Suyu tried addressing them. Greetings. The 20 elves snapped to attention and shouted in unison. Greetings, my lord. We pledge our loyalty. Novice lords were granted 3 available construction slots, and their first building came free of charge. Available builds, wooden hut, stonemason's workshop, primary food processing mill. Suyu chose to build the stonemason's workshop at a moderate distance from his lord manor. Blocks of smooth stone and timber materialized out of thin air, assembling the workshop like building blocks. Suyu checked each elf's status panel and singled out the only male elf bearing the artisan trait. You will oversee work within the stonemason's workshop. The elf stepped forward and saluted. At once, my lord. He hurried into the workshop to craft stone tools. Suyu allocated 20 timber and 20 stone for him, enough to begin production. Once stone tools were ready, his populace could venture into the forest to harvest timber. Next, he summoned the Storm Magi. 1,000 sovereign tier Storm Magi formed a neat formation. They wore matching white robes trimmed in blue, embroidered with golden lightning patterns, each gripping a staff set with a golden gemstone. We serve you, my lord. We pledge our loyalty. Excellent. Iris will serve as commander, with Talia as deputy. Clear all hostile creatures in the surrounding area. Pay particular attention to the forest. Yes. Suyu turned toward Iris. These troops are under your temporary command. Iris nodded, secretly pleased to receive his direct assignment. She was glad that Talia stood beneath her in authority. She would be the most important person to the lord. Even so, she spoke haughtily. Since you have asked, I shall not fail you. Prepare a suitable tribute for me, MMPH. Iris realized she had spoken without thinking and panicked, scrambling to amend her words. Suyu smiled and nodded. I will make preparations. Having read her evaluation, he understood her personality. A little gentle teasing would be enjoyable. He planned to prepare a tribute that would catch her completely off guard. Iris froze for a moment, let out a quiet then hurried off. Talia reacted swiftly, rallying the storm magi and following behind her. At the rear of the formation, Talia glanced back and mouthed a silent message towards Suyu. Suyu understood. He would need to prepare extra gifts for 2 people tonight. Tier classification for heroes, troops, and populace, ascending. Iron, bronze, mithril, radiant gold, crystal, sovereign, glory, legendary, mythic, epic, primordial, immortal. Suyu had finished all immediate tasks. His remaining resources stood at 9,980 timber, 9,980 stone, 10,000 assorted common rations, 10,000 iron, and 10,075 gold coins. He held more than enough materials to upgrade his territory, yet territory advancement carried a prerequisite. All hostile units within the expansion zone must be eliminated. For example, upgrading to level 2 expanded territory boundaries to 500,500. Every hostile entity inside that range, including rival lords, had to be cleared first. Iris's expeditionary force had only just departed, so an upgrade would have to wait. What should Suyu occupy himself with for the time being? Naturally, he would open the novice chat channel to see how other lords were progressing and check if any other lucky players existed. Novice chat channel, novice trade board, novice private messaging. All interfaces marked with the novice prefix were isolated from the public forums. Without this separation, wealthy players could receive supplies from family members via the trade board, creating an unfair playing field for everyone else. Suyu opened the newcomer chat channel and set his temporary nickname. I'm not cheating chat channel population. 121,536,836 / 121,536,836. White Dragon King. I'm unstoppable. I randomly drew a white dragon from the 5 color dragons as my subject. I'm soaring. 54088. 666. The big shot is incredible. Level 8 Gale. Unstoppable how? The disgrace among the 5 color dragons. White Dragon King. It's still a dragon. I think you're just jealous. JJ bro. Damn it, I got goblins. I'm finished. They're weak, and their loyalty is a nightmare to raise. Suck suck suck. How do you know I rolled a succubus? Ape God FTW. Who asked you? Why are you bringing that up? Suck suck suck. Exactly Ape God FTW. Level 8 Gale. Inside the chat channel, countless users bragged about the fine subjects, terrain, and talents they had drawn, while others lamented their rotten luck with terrible starting polls. There were also absurd long posts to scroll past. Suyu browsed the messages one by one, thoroughly entertained. That was until he spotted this entry. Prison fish. When you think your luck's run out and this run is doomed, read this. Someone spawned on a tiny desert oasis, and their subjects are mermaids. JJ bro. Thanks, big bro. I feel much better now. White Dragon King, man. Invincible Tyrannosaurus warrior, man. The channel flooded with cries of man. A faint smile tugged at Suyu's lips at the dark humor of the thread. Meanwhile elsewhere, thunderstorms raged through the forest. Streaks of lightning and lightning chains crashed down upon monsters, instantly slaying these black iron 1/5-star foes. Supported by a 180 boost to all attributes, 80 faster spellcasting, and Talia's passive ability. 1,000 thunder, mage wizards cut a swathe through the woods. Any lone monster that showed its head died instantly. Beast packs of 20 to 30 monsters only slowed them down slightly. A pitch-black greatsword pierced straight through the bronze tier goblin chieftain. Ignoring the 10 damage reduction from fighting an opponent of a higher tier, Iris struck him down with a single blow. In combat, fighting an enemy from a higher life tier granted the stronger side a flat 10 damage reduction for every tier gap. Differences in life tier created overwhelming disparities. Yet for Iris, a black iron tier hero, the 10 reduction against bronze foes and the 20 reduction against silver foes meant nothing. Her talent simply bypassed all such effects. Her attacks ignored enemy defense, damage reductions, shields, invulnerability, and immunities, dealing pure true damage no matter what. It was devastatingly overpowered. Iris lazily sheathed the sword of original sin and sprawled across her throne, resting her head on one armrest and propping her legs up on the other. With her lord absent, she was the strongest being around. 2 Thunder Mage wizards emerged from the cleared goblin tribe, each carrying a bronze treasure chest. My lady, we found these chests within the tribe. Bring them along. We press onward. Iris glanced sideways. They were bronze tier chests. They wouldn't hold extraordinary loot, but for a rookie lord, every resource counted, and she would take everything they could get. The task of hauling the chests naturally fell to the 2 mages carrying them. As the group ventured deeper, bronze-tier monsters grew more common. Yet they were merely speed bumps for the 1,000 Thunder Mage wizards. The 10 damage reduction melted beneath their relentless barrage of spells. Those who cast slower often failed to claim any experience. One merciful design built into the new Lord Trial's fully randomized maps was monster scaling. Creatures spawned close to every Lord's starting territory were low level. The farther you traveled from your territory borders, the stronger the monsters became. This rule prevented disasters where new Lords spawned right outside dragon lairs or hellish gates. Thanks to this mechanic, some Lords had uncovered a useful trick. If monsters you encountered gradually weakened as you explored forward, a fellow rookie Lord's territory lay roughly in that direction. Within the sealed-off new Lord Trial, countless dangers lurked. You might meet a noble-minded Lord, or you could cross paths with someone ruthless. At best, they would plunder your resources and force you into vassalage. At worst, they would raise your territory to seize all buildings and supplies, steal your subjects' summoning rights, and capture your heroes. Yes, that was allowed. Destroy another Lord's territory, and you gain their subjects' summoning rights and all assets except their population. You could also capture their heroes if you managed to seize them. Heroes were not foolish. If their homeland fell, they would flee. Heroes with high loyalty might return later to avenge their lord. Captured heroes could be persuaded to swear allegiance. If they refused, Lords could keep them imprisoned to continue negotiations, set them free, or simply execute them. This treatment only applied to high-quality heroes. Why waste effort capturing low-tier ones? So long as a territory remained undestroyed, heroes possessed special protection and could not be captured. Two conditions triggered territory annihilation. The Lord's manor is destroyed, the Lord dies. If either condition was met, the territory vanished entirely. For now, all Lords merely chatted in the public channel. No one dared leak their coordinates. Whether they hailed from powerful families on the outside, young masters and ladies tempered their arrogance here. Even peers sent by their kin would not flaunt their power or reveal their identities. Murders committed within the trial were incredibly difficult to trace back in the outer world. Many Lords shared the same subject races. Once they left the trial, they could simply avoid using stolen summoning rights and barracks units for a time. When questioned, they could claim they raided territories of foreign races. Even the subordinates arranged by aristocratic households were not safe. Every great clan had enemies, and there might be enemy assassins infiltrating among their ranks. If they ran into trouble and needed reinforcements, they would have to send coordinates to allies via private message. Those coordinates could fall into the hands of moles, who would relay the information to their masters. The new Lord Trial was a dark forest. No one could be certain if their followers, friends, or classmates could be trusted. Every time you chose to share your coordinates with someone you trusted, you made a risky gamble. In the mid to late stages of the trial, Lords could open chests to obtain cross-realm stones. Input coordinates into the stone, and you could send armies to attack other Lords, ignoring all distance barriers. Once the new Lord Trial concluded, all cross-realm stones vanished. The game system deemed the item far too unbalanced. Worse yet, temporary nicknames in the chat channel could be altered infinitely. With fast enough hands, someone could change their name, post another Lord's coordinates and territory details in public chat, then revert their nickname. Once a message was sent, the display name attached to it never updated, even if the user renamed themselves. Anyone clicking on the avatar would only see user not found. That was the hidden malice built into the new Lord Trial. A game of prisoner's dilemma within a dark forest. Night fell. Suyu judged that the time had come to upgrade his territory. Level 1 Lord's Manor was nothing more than a ramshackle wooden hut, drafty and empty save for a single straw bed. No one could possibly rest comfortably there. Suyu opened his Lord panel and selected to upgrade the Lord's Manor. Lord's Manor. Level 1. Territory range 200200. Upgrade materials 100 timber, 50 stone, 10 gold coins. Note: territory range expands to 500,500 after upgrade. Suyu confirmed the upgrade. Golden light enveloped the manor, and after several seconds, a brand new building stood in its place. The dilapidated hut transformed into a 2-story wooden manor. Suyu pushed open the front door. The ground floor housed a great hall, kitchen, and washroom, while the second floor held the sleeping quarters. The lumpy straw single bed was replaced by a double bed fitted with a thin mattress, sheets, and a light quilt. Suyu attempted to upgrade it once more. He possessed enough materials. The only question was whether he had cleared the surrounding area to satisfy the upgrade requirements. Testing it was simple. Click upgrade again. Consumed 500 timber, 300 stone, 100 gold coins. Upgrade successful. Lord's Manor. Level 3. Territory Range 10001000. Upgrade Materials 500 ironwood, 100 iron ore, 500 gold coins. Note: Territory range expands to 20002000 after upgrade. This upgrade required ironwood, which Suyu lacked, halting further progress. Even if he had the resource, he would need to purge all nearby monsters first. Though still 2 stories tall, the manor now featured stone reinforcements, a more polished appearance, and upgraded furnishings. The bed grew larger and softer, furnished with a thick warm quilt whose color Suyu could choose freely. The difference from the level 1 hovel was night and day. Outside, Iris led her army back to the territory. The Thunder Mage wizards dispersed at a distance from the manor, while Iris and Talia walked to the entrance, followed by attendants carrying treasure chests. Suyu had tracked the army's movement on his map long beforehand and waited downstairs to collect the spoils. 7 black iron chests, 3 bronze chests, 2 silver chests. You pushed all the way into silver tier monster territory. Suyu was amazed. Truly worthy of a myth tier and epic tier hero leading king tier troops. They had ventured into silver zones while still only black iron tier. We could have pushed into gold territory and hunted if we did not worry about troop casualties. We brought back 3,543 units of meat rations today. Iris sat upright upon her throne as she replied. With Talia supporting her, Iris could hunt safely within gold territory. Paired with the Thunder Mage wizards, large-scale clearing operations were viable. However, gold-tier bosses could endure the mage's assault and charge into the ranks to wreak havoc. Thanks to the 30 damage reduction against black iron combatants. To avoid losing precious soldiers, Iris chose not to venture deeper. The army had authority to butcher suitable monsters and carve their flesh into transportable food supplies. Excellent work, Iris. Thank you for your efforts. Suyu reached out and ruffled Iris's hair. Her cheeks flushed, yet she did not pull away, letting him continue. Her silken strands felt like fine silk, making Suyu reluctant to stop, but opening the chests took priority. He pulled his hand away and began looting, starting from the lowest tier chests. Black iron chest opened. Obtained. Universal rations times 500, timber times 200. That was all the chest held. Disappointed with the meager reward, Suyu opted to open all remaining chests at once and sort through the haul afterward. Total loot: 1,500 rations, 1,900 timber, 700 stone, 1,000 ironwood, 800 iron ore, 300 gold coins, 1 blueprint, and 1 dungeon stone. The silver chest must have dropped the good stuff. Let me see this blueprint. 3-story dormitory blueprint. Tier: silver. Category: housing. Construction materials: 100 timber, 300 stone, 100 iron ore, 100 gold coins. Description: compact housing that accommodates far more subjects than basic wooden huts. Isn't that convenient? This will be incredibly useful. It saves precious land space. Suyu was pleased. His territory was still cramped. The Lord's Manor needed to reach level 5 before he could begin claiming new land. Expanding territory by clearing monsters across wider zones. Suyu inspected the dungeon stone. Newcomer Thicket Dungeon Stone. Tier: bronze. Restriction: disappears once the new Lord trial concludes. Rating rewards: SSS rank, 1 gold chest 1-time claim SS rank, 2 silver chests 1-time claim S rank, 1,000 timber, 1,000 stone, 1,000 bronze grade meat rations. A rank: 500 timber, 100 stone, 100 black iron grade meat rations. Dungeon stones were extremely rare among rookie lords. They unlocked a stable source of resources and a reliable way to level troops. Achieve a high rating, and you collected all rewards for every tier below it. Bronze grade meat rations granted experience upon consumption, offering an alternative method to raise levels. Low-tier meat provided minimal benefit, and there was a consumption cap. Overeating would inflict exhaustion. Monsters inside the bronze dungeon started at minimum bronze tier, with the dungeon boss reaching bronze 10 stars. They had swept silver territory today, yet silver monsters spawned in small scattered packs of 20 or 30. Hardly enough to keep his army occupied. The Thunder Mage wizards and Talia were only black iron 2 stars, while Iris hogged monster kills constantly and climbed to black iron 4 stars. Heroes required far more experience than soldiers, proof of how fiercely Iris competed for kills. Time to build housing. Early on, managing large populations created one persistent headache: insufficient living quarters. Subjects forced to camp outdoors risked falling loyalty, aside from certain special races. That was why most rookie lords avoided summoning too many subjects before constructing adequate housing. Though all of Suyu's subjects possessed locked maximum loyalty, he saw no reason to treat them poorly. He gave the order without hesitation. 10 three-story dormitories were erected on the outskirts. Each dorm housed 216 residents, enough to accommodate every subject under his command. We have new tasks tomorrow. Rest for now. Dismissed. Yes, Lord Suyu. The Thunder Mage wizards responded in unison before dispersing to eat and rest. Talia stepped forward with a graceful bow. My lord, regarding our rewards. She did not finish her sentence, her gentle smile growing warmer, but Iris cut her off. I was first. Iris leapt down from her throne. The floating throne shifted at her command, gently nudging Talia aside. Talia yielded with a small retreat, unperturbed. She had no intention of backing down. Suyu watched Iris's outward competitive posturing and Talia's quiet maneuvering behind her. Very well. Your reward is lodging within the Lord's manor tonight. Aye, very well. Iris stiffened, her quiet mumbled words barely audible, only the final agreement reaching Suyu's ears. The three entered the manor. Talia, walking last, closed and locked the front door. As Suyu and Iris headed upstairs to check the bedchambers, Talia went to the ground floor bathhouse. She had sweated through the day's expedition and wished to wash off the grime. Pride kept Iris haughty, yet her unwavering loyalty to Suyu created an internal conflict. Her respect for her lord clashed constantly with her arrogance, leaving her perpetually flustered and reserved in his presence. Upstairs, Suyu lifted Iris into his arms. She froze immediately. Wait a moment. Iris was caught off guard. His hold felt awkward, and her pride urged her to speak up. You're carrying me uncomfortably. My feet cannot reach the ground. Suyu had long wondered if Iris's floating throne operated on a principle similar to maglev trains. With Iris willing to cooperate, he asked her about the mechanics of the levitation enchantment. Deep into the night, Suyu coaxed the weary Iris to sleep. He tidied away her dusty stockings and placed them in a basin. They had been worn through a full day of monster hunting. Suyu planned to head downstairs for a bath, only to walk straight into Talia as he turned. He suddenly felt as if he had been caught red-handed. Oh my, it's my turn now. New Lord Trial, Day 2. Suyu woke, burying his head in soft white pillows, tempted to doze longer. Before a sudden thought struck him. The system shop had refreshed. He needed to check immediately. He shifted to squeeze between the two still slumbering women and opened the system store. 1 gold coin system shop. Wonder Hall of Heroes Supreme. Unique. Price. 1 gold coin. Barracks, Forbidden Hunters Legendary. Price. 1 gold coin. Building, Lord's Manor Reinforcement. Multiplies the manor's durability tenfold. Price. 1 gold coin. Trait. War Master Gold. All heroes and troops gain plus 100 all attributes and cannot break in combat. Price. 1 gold coin. Troops Chaos Abyss Knights Epic times 1000. Price. 1 gold coin. Wow. A wonder, and it's unique. Suyu jolted fully awake and purchased all 5 listed items. He pulled up the Hall of Heroes details. Wonders were extraordinarily rare structures with abysmal drop rates. A handful of lucky players obtained one each trial cycle, yet most were of modest rarity. Boosted only by the new Lord Trials loot bonuses. Wonders could only be obtained from treasure chests. Infinite spawn high-tier dungeons were required to farm them, and the odds were astronomically low. Powerful clan leaders outside the trial opened countless chests year-round without ever laying hands on one. To make matters more staggering, Suyu had never read of a supreme, unique grade in any textbook. Standard wonder tiers were rare, precious, legendary, epic, mythic. Clearly, supreme, unique stood above mythic, on an entirely separate tier of power. Hall of Heroes. Rarity, supreme, unique. Building type, wonder. Traits, engrave. Record heroes of excellent tier or higher. Recorded heroes revive 24 hours after death. United will. Every hero recorded within the hall grants all inscribed heroes a permanent plus 10 all attribute bonus. Holy Grail War. Host 1 Holy Grail War per year. 7 random heroes from the hall compete over 7 days. The victor undergoes evolution, raising their rarity tier. Recorded heroes, 0. Incredible. Unmatched stat bonuses and game-changing mechanics, plus a path for heroes to evolve. This was an absolute game-changer. He reviewed the Forbidden Hunters Barracks next. Forbidden Hunters Barracks. Troop role, stealth, ranged, solo operators. Convert subjects into troops. 1 subject, / 4,500 gold coins, / 24 hours. Direct recruitment. 1 troop, / 5,000 gold coins. Wages. 1,000 gold coins per month negated by the Eternal Oath. Maintaining an army devoured resources endlessly. Troops required regular rations plus monthly pay. Ordinary lords had to carefully balance income and expenditure. Some lords, unable to cover payroll at month's end, sent unpaid soldiers into battle to avoid wages. Repeating this too often eroded troop loyalty and risked mutiny. Recruiting new soldiers cost more upfront, but it was preferable to angering existing troops. Suyu lingered beside the bed for a short while before dressing and heading downstairs to wash. After Suyu departed, Iris opened her eyes. She had woken long ago, yet embarrassment kept her from rising. Talia continued resting. Though her passive ability restored everyone to full condition each night, she wished to sleep more. Downstairs, after washing up, Suyu converted universal rations into steamed dumplings and soybean milk. He picked up a dumpling with chopsticks, chewed slowly, then sipped soybean milk before taking another bite. Any food can be converted into ordinary food with no special supernatural effects. Yet one can sample cuisines from every nation across the entire Blue Star. As long as dishes are not prepared using transcendent ingredients, they count as ordinary fare. After finishing his meal, it was time to get to work. Suyu stepped out of the Lord's Manor and erected the Hall of Heroes directly opposite the building. After careful consideration, he judged this to be the ideal location. A colossal white palace materialized out of thin air. Constructed primarily from white quartz and accented with blue crystal, it exuded majesty and breathtaking beauty. He then opened his Lord interface and dragged the hero panels for Iris and Talia into the Hall of Heroes to register them. Registration complete. Iris and Talia now gain an additional 20 boost to all attributes. I still need 5 more heroes to participate in the Holy Grail War. I can gather them gradually. With the shop available, I expect to assemble the team before long. At the thought of being able to raise the rarity of one random hero once each year, Suyu felt he would soon become invincible. Mythic tier heroes like Iris were exceedingly rare, treasures coveted by every lord. When the chance arose, lords would pour immense wealth and resources into claiming a single mythic hero. This realization filled Suyu with unease. He remained far too weak, and the novice lord trial would last merely 1 month. If word spread about the Hall of Heroes, a wonder with the highest rarity tier and outrageously powerful stat bonuses, would a hail of sniper bullets find him the very next day? Should a lord perish or the lord's manor be destroyed, all buildings and resources within the territory would be seized. This was no baseless fear. This world lacked the stability of the realm Suyu inhabited before his transmigration. Even with official oversight, rumors persisted, lords dying under suspicious circumstances, wonders supposedly donated voluntarily, and prodigies abruptly meeting their end. Might made right in this world. To the mighty clans wielding overwhelming power, survivors of the novice trial amounted to nothing. They refrained from acting only when the benefits were insufficient. Yet Suyu possessed something every lord craved. Heroes shielded from permanent death, stacked attribute bonuses for every recruited hero, and the annual chance to elevate a hero's rarity. No lord could resist such temptation. Only one solution remained: grow stronger. Once his power reached sufficient heights, all troubles would resolve themselves. I absolutely must survive. He placed the barracks of forbidden hunters on the same row as the Hall of Heroes, albeit at a greater distance, then summoned the Chaos Abyss Knights. 1,000 Chaos Abyss Knights emerged amid billowing black mist. They rode tall equine mounts, fully encased in black plate armor. Mounted, each cut an imposing, towering figure. Chaos Abyss Knight level, 1-star Iron Race, Humanoid Grade, Epic Alignment, Chaotic Evil Armament, Chaos Armor, Abyss Lance, Abyss Greatsword. Talents: Abyss Might wounds inflicted resist healing. Chaos Aura deals continuous mental damage to nearby hostiles. Skills: Chaos Ward Group Shield, Abyss Corrosion passive sustained damage, charge speed and damage boost. Evaluation: Formidable Knights steeped in shadow. Shortly afterward, Iris and Talia descended to wash up and sat at the table for breakfast. Their overnight conversation had drawn them far closer. Iris, in particular, had grown much less reserved after Suyu allowed her greater freedom of expression the previous night. "Greetings, Lady Iris." "You may rise, servant," Iris replied at once, elated by the deference. Suyu raised an eyebrow. He had merely indulged her whims, and she was already fully immersed in their earlier roleplay. Still, he saw no harm in it. Perhaps it was for the best. Ignoring their light-hearted exchange, Talia greeted Suyu. "Good morning, Lord. May the Mother of Life watch over you. Today you two will lead dungeon expeditions." Suyu issued his orders. You will command all Storm Mages and Chaos Abyss Knights to enter the dungeon. Umph. I shall retrieve the most precious treasures within as reward for our fruitful discussion last night. Iris turned her head, pride evident on her face. A faint blush coloring her cheeks as she avoided meeting his gaze. Talia remained calm and composed. I shall obey your will, Lord. The stats for the Storm Mages, omitted earlier, are listed below. Storm Mage level, 2-star Iron Race, Human Grade, King Tier Alignment, Neutral Order Armament, Mage Staff. Talent, Mana Perception expands detection and targeting radius by 1,000 meters. Skills, Mana Barrier Protective Shield, Lightning Chain Damage with Chain Attacks, Lightning Strike, Raging Thundercloud Area of Effect Sustained Damage. Suyu activated the Novice Woodland Dungeon Stone. A massive energy vortex opened not far ahead. Iris and Talia led 1,000 Storm Mages and 1,000 Chaos Abyss Knights into the dungeon. The dungeon unfolded as a woodland. The army materialized in a cleared open space, and noisy growls and cries echoed from the surrounding trees. Grachiel, roar. Monsters soon poured out from the forest, around 30 in total. Goblin Hunter level, 1-star bronze quality, common no skills. Wandering Orc level, 2-star bronze quality, common skill, heavy strike. The dungeon operated on a wave-based spawning system with a time limit. Once each wave was eliminated, the next would arrive shortly afterward, with monster numbers rising every wave. The more waves cleared within the allotted time, the higher the dungeon's final evaluation score. Since the terrain was uneven woodland, the Chaos Abyss Knights dismounted and recalled their mounts. They formed a protective circle shielding the Storm Mages at their center. Each Chaos Abyss Knight planted a large shield before them with their left hand, and gripped a great sword in their right, blocking the orcs and goblins from advancing. Mana surged along the Storm Mages' staffs, and layers of roiling black thunderclouds spread overhead, blotting out the sky. Boom! Crackle! Energy poured down from the storm clouds. Thick bolts of lightning struck and swept across the battlefield. Any monster touched by the lightning instantly lost all vitality, reduced to charred husks. The thunderclouds merged, amplifying their destructive power. Experience earned from defeated foes was evenly distributed among all troops. The first wave was wiped out in moments. Wave 2, Wave 3, Wave 10. Monsters spawning in Wave 10 were universally 3 stars stronger, and new variants appeared alongside a dungeon boss. A towering green-skinned orc stepped from the forest shadows, wielding a thick wooden club. Orc Chieftain level, 9-star bronze quality. Fine talent. Brute frame increased health and strength. Skills, Mighty Blow, Sweeping Smash, Savage Charge. Before he could close in, Iris cast Scorn, weakening both his charge speed and power. Her Sword of Original Sin swung once and severed his head. His health depleted completely, and Iris advanced to 5-star Iron. The remaining enemies were swiftly eliminated by the army. Outside the dungeon, Suyu received a system notification. Your army has cleared Wave 10 of monster hordes. Evaluation achieved. Rank S. Continue dungeon exploration? Warning. Further exploration will bring drastically increased difficulty. Continue. Suyu ordered without hesitation. He could observe the battle unfolding inside, and his troops held an impenetrable defensive line. Wave 11 commencing spawn. Monster numbers doubled instantly. Creatures charged forward from all directions in the woodland, only to perish beneath the Storm Mage's lightning bombardment. Iris hovered mid-air upon her throne. Her floating Sword of Original Sin picked off bosses and elite monsters one by one. For this reason, her level continued to outpace everyone else's. Talia rose to 4-star Iron. As a support-focused hero, she leveled more slowly. Yet her hero template and high rarity granted her formidable base statistics regardless. Monster numbers doubled once more for Wave 12. Talia raised her staff, channeling endless life energy into every member of the army. She unleashed the skill feast, granting comprehensive enhancements to all allies. After prolonged combat, the monster horde was entirely eradicated. Novice Woodland Dungeon completed rating, SSS. Available one-time SSS grade rewards. SSS rank, Golden Radiance chest times 1 SS rank, Mithril chest times 2. S rank, 1,000 timber, 1,000 stone, 1,000 bronze grade meat rations a rank, 500 timber, 100 stone, 100 iron grade meat rations. Aside from the one-time treasure chest rewards, the resources awarded for S and A ranks were highly valuable, especially the food supplies. This formed Suyu's most reliable source of provisions in the novice phase. He needed to secure stable food supplies before the novice trial concluded. Otherwise, he would be forced to purchase rations through the Lord's trading hub. The dungeon portal reopened. Iris and Talia led the army back to the territory to rest. While Talia's talents kept the troops in peak physical condition, Suyu still needed to consider their mental fatigue. He set a 30-minute rest period after every dungeon run. Iris had now reached 8-star iron. Talia stood at 6-star iron. The army's average level rested between 3 and 4 stars. With such a large force, experience was thinly shared. There was little to be done. Every lord faced the same issue. Barring special methods, troops could only level gradually through monster hunts. Suyu lay upon the grass, resting his head on Talia's lap. Her thighs made for a comfortable cushion, and shadows blocked most of the harsh sunlight overhead. Bored, he opened the novice channel to browse the discussions. Succubus enthusiast. I feel utterly drained this morning. I finally managed to feed one of them. Fish in cage. Only one? What do the rest of the succubi eat? Dragon overlord. Right, what's their food source? Invincible battle god. Guys, I obtained a novice iron dungeon stone, but I can't clear it alone. Any advice? White Dragon King. Build up your army first and hunt nearby monsters to level up. Standard starting lords should wait a few days before attempting dungeons. Invincible battle god. Thank you, White Dragon King. You're a true hero. Ocean of water. Anyone looking to buy timber? Private message me if you wish. I'll offer 3 gold coins per 3 units. Lucky Strike. Well, I encountered a 5-star bronze elite hero out in the wild and convinced him to join my faction. Fish in cage. I'm so jealous. Crying emoji. Why does everyone else get all the luck? Crying emoji. African chieftain. Lucky Strike. You've got my envy. Tentacle Lord. Lucky Strike. You've got my envy. Lucky Strike. Feel free to keep envying me. African chieftain. Hey Fish in cage. Why are you always lingering in the chat channel? Fish in cage. What else can I do with my starting conditions? Chatting is my only option besides idle waiting. No cheats here. Salutations to the legendary perpetual chat dweller Fish in cage. Fish in cage, exactly. Amusing, so you thought. He interacted with the various users in the channel. His display name was No Cheats Here. It was one of his only 2 forms of entertainment. Once the rest period ended, the army re-entered the dungeon to farm materials and gain levels. Thanks to their level gains from the first run, they cleared the dungeon far more quickly this time. Large quantities of resources poured into Suyu's lord inventory. He opened the novice trading hub to browse available goods. The listings were sparse. Most basic resources had already been bought up. Only odd miscellaneous goods and vastly overpriced foundational materials remained. The market is facing a shortage. Should I turn a profit? I can sell surplus timber and stone obtained from dungeon runs. After brief thought, he made his decision. There was no reason to hoard excess resources. Basic supplies, especially food, were in extreme demand. Currently, timber sold for a minimum of 1 gold coin per unit, stone at 2 gold coins, and food at 3 gold coins per unit. And listings vanished instantly. He could price food higher and still see it snapped up, yet he chose not to. His own territory still required consistent supplies. 2,000 mouths required constant feeding. He would not sell food until he built up a comfortable reserve. Combining leftover stock with timber harvested by jungle elves the previous day, his reserves stood at over 10,000 units. Each dungeon run yielded an additional 1,500 units of timber, which was well worth selling. 1,500 units equaled 1,500 gold coins. It was only the second day of the trial. Prices would drop later, so now was the perfect time to sell. He decided to make an announcement in the novice chat channel. He could simply change his username afterward if needed. There was no risk. So he planned to make a splash. No cheats here. Everyone, timber clearance sale. I will list 5,000 units shortly, 1 gold coin per unit. Interested buyers head to the trading hub now. Fish in cage, how much? White Dragon King. Another formidable player emerges. Dragon Overlord. Respect, no price gouging. Stargazer, cheater. Milk Tea Girl. Wealthy Lord, spare some supplies for the hungry. Fish in cage. All hail the legendary powerhouse, no cheats here. High school hero. All hail the legendary powerhouse, no cheats here. The channel erupted in shock and playful banter. A small handful of users complained about the pricing, and a thrill of satisfaction washed over Suyu. Timber vendors existed, yet most only listed 50 or 200 units at a time. No one else offered 5,000 units in a single listing. The rush of public attention felt exhilarating. Suyu opened the novice trading hub and posted 5,000 units of timber for sale. The entire stock was purchased within seconds. This came as no surprise. Not all lords spawned in forested regions. Those situated in barren terrain desperately needed timber. Stone could often be mined locally, but lumber was impossible to source without trees. Messages flooded Su Yu's private inbox, quickly hitting the 99+ notification mark. Most requests were friend applications seeking private trade offers. Several signs of powerful external clans reached out to propose cooperation. To sell 5,000 units of timber on the second day of the trial was proof of extraordinary strength. Clan heirs suspected no cheats here possessed at minimum an epic tier lord talent, a prize worthy of extensive investment to recruit. Back in the public channel. Fishing cage. Everyone, I managed to grab 120 units. Quack quack. I only got 20. How is everyone's reaction speed so fast? Desert Lord. Not bad, 70 units for me. Beg for supplies. Great Lord, please restock. I couldn't grab any. Lords whose territories lacked timber shared how much they managed to purchase, while others lamented being too slow. After lunch, Su Yu decided to pause dungeon runs. He planned to upgrade the Lord's manor and deploy troops to clear monsters surrounding his territory. Suspend dungeon expeditions for now. Iris, you and the army will clear monsters outside our territory later. My goal today is to raise the Lord's manor to level 4. After his afternoon nap, Su Yu rested lazily against a soft cushion and gave instructions to Iris, who watched on with barely concealed eagerness. But Iris offered a better suggestion. Let Talia lead the external cleanup. I will handle the dungeon monsters. Su Yu paused mid-bite as Talia handed him a cherry, concerned. Can you clear the dungeon alone? The monster numbers are considerable. Without Talia's sustaining abilities, will your mana hold out? Iris huffed at his doubt. No need for your concern. Those trivial foes will barely drain my mana. Stay safely within the manor and await my triumphant return. She had advanced to 1-star bronze now, her power surging dramatically. She was fully capable of conquering the dungeon single-handedly. My apologies, Lady Iris. I underestimated your strength. Su Yu reached out and gently stroked her hair to calm her. Her cheeks flushed faintly. Humph. I have no need for you watching over me from outside. The afternoon rest came to an end. Following Iris's proposal, Talia led the army out to eliminate monsters surrounding the territory, while Iris entered the dungeon alone. Lord, we depart now. Safe travels. Su Yu watched Talia's troop march away, then activated the novice woodland dungeon and sent Iris inside. Upon entering, Iris settled onto her floating throne, leaning forward slightly to oversee the entire battlefield spread out before her eyes. Wave 1 monsters. As the goblins and orcs appeared, they were immediately struck by Elise's scorn, weakening both their attack power and movement speed. Elise remained motionless. The great sword of original sin, taller than herself, shot forth in an instant, crashing down onto the monsters below. It hurtled forward like a fully loaded heavy wagon barreling down the road, grinding over the beasts as if they were speed bumps. The tremendous impact tore straight through their bodies. The orcs' upper bodies were reduced to pulped flesh. As for the goblins, nothing but scraps littered the ground. The first wave was wiped out in the blink of an eye. The next 3 waves met the exact same fate. Growing impatient with the slow pace, Elise ordered the great sword of original sin to spin. It swept rapidly back and forth below like a lawnmower. Efficiency surged. Eventually, she sent the sword circling along the forest edge to block the monster spawn point. Every batch that emerged was cut to pieces. The dungeon was cleared effortlessly. She had not even unleashed her ultimate skill, Authority of Arrogance. Elise rose to bronze 7-star. She gained all dungeon experience alone, leveling up at an astonishing rate. After exiting the instance, she struggled to hold back a grin. She sat upon the throne with her arms crossed, legs clad in black stockings crossed elegantly, her feet in low heels swaying gently. Every gesture radiated haughty pride. Others thought it impossible, yet I accomplished it with ease. Such is the power of me, the sin of arrogance. Now, speak your praises to me. You're adorable, let me pat you. That's not what I wanted. Hey, why are you touching my feet? Flustered and cheeks flushed, caught between the power of arrogance and 100 loyalty, she stammered. Servant, hold them properly. This is an honor bestowed upon you. Nightfall. Talia returned with her army without a single casualty, then dismissed the troops to take turns patrolling. After spending the entire afternoon grinding monsters, Elise had advanced to Mithril 3-star. Su Yu opened the Lord's Manor interface. Lord's Manor. Level 3. Territory range 10001000. Upgrade materials 500 ironwood, 100 iron ore, 500 gold coins. Note: after upgrading, territory range expands to 2000-2000. Yes/no to upgrade. Su Yu tapped yes without hesitation. Light enveloped the Lord's Manor. Moments later, it transformed into a 3-story residence. built from stone and ironwood with exquisite craftsmanship. Pushing open the main gate revealed a grand hall furnished with carpets and seating. Stairs led to the living quarters. The second floor housed a kitchen, lounge, and washrooms. The third floor contained bedrooms with private washrooms, one equipped with a large bathtub. Lights came from mysterious crystal fixtures fitted with switches, functioning much like ordinary electric lamps. Lord's Manor. Level 4. Territory range 2000-2000. Upgrade requirements. Possess 1 hero. Upgrade materials. 100 random elemental crystals, 1,000 stone blocks, 500 iron ore, 5,000 gold coins. So you stretched lazily. Today's tasks are complete. Tomorrow I need to focus on infrastructure and build city walls to enclose the territory. I should be able to obtain elemental crystals from the Aureate treasure chest soon. Once I have them, I can upgrade the manor again and claim the milestone reward. Reaching Lord's Manor level 5 signified a lord advancing to the mid-stage of the novice trial. As the first lord to pass the early phase hurdles, he would receive a server first reward package. The greatest prize within the bundle was a wonder. Opening the reward granted one randomly selected wonder of rare to exotic tier. Aside from this mid-stage first clear reward and the later late-stage milestone reward, there were no other ways to acquire wonders within the novice lord trial. While Suyu's system lessened the appeal of this prize, no lord would ever turn down an additional wonder. All of it belongs to me. So you got back to work. Upon upgrading the Lord's Manor, the Lord system unlocked multiple new constructible facilities, including city walls. There was no need to build more dormitories. The 10 buildings he constructed the previous day could accommodate 2,160 residents. More than enough for current demands. With little left to attend to, it was time to open treasure chests. Suyu rubbed his hands together, always fond of opening loot chests. Let's see what rewards the chests hold after today's efforts. He possessed 3 black iron chests, 6 bronze chests, 3 mithril chests, and 1 aureate chest. 2 of the mithril chests and the aureate chest were one-time dungeon clear rewards. Suyu opened all of them at once, skipping elaborate rituals. He hoped to obtain useful blueprints. You obtained 4,100 timber, 2,100 stone blocks, 4,000 ironwood, 3,000 iron ore, 3,000 random provisions, 1,000 light elemental crystals. Stone wall blueprint, medium water well blueprint. More blueprints. Both the stone wall and water well are exactly what I need. The drop rate is fantastic. Suyu continued checking his gains. And 1,000 random elemental crystals. That's exactly enough for the next upgrade. Suyu understood the loot mechanics of treasure chests. An aureate chest guaranteed 1 black iron tier blueprint. With a moderate chance for a bronze blueprint, low chance for a mithril blueprint, and extremely slim odds of an aureate blueprint. Blueprint drops rolled independently. It was possible to receive 2 blueprints of different tiers, or even 3 with good luck. The luckiest players could claim all possible tiers at once. Elemental crystals were common drops inside aureate chests. Vital construction materials required for mid-stage development. He still remembered all these game mechanics from his studies. Stone wall. Tier, black iron. Category, city wall. Materials, 10 stone blocks, 2 gold coins per 113M section. Evaluation, capable of holding off minor creatures. Medium water well. Tier, mithril. Category, utility facility. Materials, 100 ironwood, 500 stone blocks, 200 iron ore, 500 gold coins. Evaluation, eliminates the need to send workers to fetch water from external sources. Water was an essential resource. At present, villagers relied on converting universal provisions into drinking water. Constructing water wells would drastically cut provision consumption. Though the Lord's Manor generated a limited supply of water via its intrinsic rules, it could never sustain such a large population. Later, as territory expanded, Suyu planned to dig a channel connecting to a river to secure a stable water source. Suyu brought up the Lord's Manor panel and selected the upgrade option. Lord's Manor upgraded to LV.5. You are the first lord in this trial to raise your Lord's Manor to LV.5. You receive the first LV.5 Lord of the Novice Phase reward pack. A server-wide announcement will be sent. Display your temporary ID? Display it. No one will be able to track me down anyway. Suyu shrugged. Public recognition would earn him prestige among competing novice lords. Right after he confirmed, banners and notifications flooded the novice chat channel. Lord, I didn't cheat, has raised his manor to LV.5. He becomes the first lord to exit early-stage development in the novice server and claims the mid-stage milestone reward. ×3. The triple broadcast instantly ignited discussion among all novice lords. Lao Yu from Prison 9 Gates, bowing to the Great Lord. Could you share your script? I'm desperate for it. Omega Succubus Lover. Great Lord, do you want a partner? I'll trade myself for resources. No cilantro, hacker. You're definitely cheating. Radiant Angel of Divine 9 Gates, 666. Share the cheat with me too. I want to catch up. Centaur with Gold Ring. LV.5 Manor on the second night. This trial is already yours. Green Bean Eater. Incredible, Lord. The channel filled with mixed reactions. Admiration, pleas for exploits, resource trade offers, jealousy, and hostile insults. Suyu could not expose those sending malicious messages, yet many other lords rushed to defend him. Sigh. It cannot be helped. Outstanding talent inevitably breeds envy. In high spirits, Suyu listed 10,000 timber and 10,000 stone blocks on the novice trade board, earning a clean profit of 30,000 gold coins. The LV.5 Lord's manor underwent a dramatic transformation. The three-story mansion evolved into a sprawling European-style manor estate. Suyu reviewed the newly unlocked LV.5 features. Army storage. Territory expansion. Equipment system. Army storage. Troops can directly deposit all spoils of war into infinite capacity storage, removing the need to assign laborers to transport resources. Territory expansion. Boundaries can be expanded endlessly. Land may be claimed once all monsters and native factions residing there are eliminated. Natives can also be subjugated through diplomacy to absorb their lands. However, when facing other player lords, their territory can only be seized upon their death, an unbreakable trial rule. Equipment system. Enables viewing, swapping, and forging weapons and armor for heroes and soldiers to boost combat power. Naturally, high-tier heroes and troops come equipped with quality gear by default. Reaching LV.5 Lord's Manor truly marked his official debut as a proper territorial lord. Suyu eagerly opened the milestone reward pack, opening the first LV.5 Lord of the Novice Phase reward pack. Congratulations, Lord, you receive 50,000 random elemental crystals. King Tier Construction Blueprint. Tower of Devastating Storm. Exotic Tier Wonder. Lake of Purity. Author's note. I forgot to include level classification earlier. I will add detailed tier descriptions in Chapter 2. The tier system is listed below for reference. Hero, Soldier, Villager tiers. Black Iron, Bronze, Mithril, Aureate, Crystal Prism, King, Glory, Legendary, Epic, Mythic, Immortal. Each tier has 1 to 10 stars. Yi Chun had waited an entire day without receiving any reply to his private messages addressed to I didn't cheat. His patience finally snapped. Why hasn't he responded? Does he look down on the Yi clan? Or does he simply ignore private messages entirely? Yi Chun sent the message under an ordinary clan member's identity. The Yi clan ranked among the 10 great clans of the Dragon Nation, with members operating across every industry and wielding immense influence. Yi Chun was the 5th child of the current clan patriarch, yet he held little standing within the family. Just as his name implied, he was treated like dust. He was never subjected to abuse. He lacked no food, clothing, or pocket money, and received all the basic respect afforded to a young master of the clan. Nevertheless, his father treated him as invisible, while his elder siblings regarded him as a rival, constantly scheming to trip him up. Now he had come to the Novice Lord trial upon reaching adulthood alongside other assigned clan members, awakening a mythic grade talent, Golden Law, and recruitables, Dragon Beasts. The discovery made him roar in elation. This feels amazing. He aimed to seize the position of clan patriarch. He would make everyone who belittled him look up to him. Lord Talent, Golden Law. Whenever completing trades, you gain an additional 1 of all resources exchanged in the deal. Recruitable units, Dragon Beasts, summon random creatures carrying dragon bloodlines. The talent made him a natural trader, capable of rapidly accumulating wealth through endless resource exchanges. Yet even massive stockpiles of low-tier resources could not substitute high-grade materials, preventing him from upgrading his manor to LV.5 before I didn't cheat. When he spotted the Lord listing 5,000 timber for sale early that morning, Yi Chun changed his temporary ID and message to propose cooperation, only to be completely ignored. That night, upon witnessing the rival reach LV.5 manor, he sent multiple follow-up messages, still receiving no response. This lord clearly possessed overwhelming strength and access to rare high-tier materials. An alliance would be perfect. Still, there was no reply. Yi Chun tossed and turned in bed, unable to sleep. You dare overlook me? Fine. I will grind and trade resources non-stop, forcing you to seek cooperation with me. On the other side of the continent, Suyu also remained awake, though far from frustrated. Quite the opposite, He was thoroughly enjoying himself. Fresh out of her bath, Talia watched the unfolding scene with confusion, then let out a helpless chuckle before slipping into bed to rest. What a bold subordinate, daring to act so familiarly in my presence. It seems this minor punishment is insufficient to atone for your disrespect. Elise stood atop the table, looking down at Suyu seated in the chair. Her cheeks were lightly flushed, yet her expression was filled with haughty disdain. She increased the pressure of her foot resting against him. Suyu endured the stern reprimand without complaint. Third day morning, Suyu woke nestled between his two heroes and breathed in the gentle scent around him, fully rousing himself. Open the 1 gold shop. 1 gold shop opened. Hero, Mother of Dragons, Tiamat Mythic, price, 1 gold coin. Wonder, Ether Purification Hot Springs Epic, price, 1 gold coin. Construction, Automated Steel Mill or it, price, 1 gold coin. Treasure Chest, Mythic Treasure Chest times 1 Mythic, price, 1 gold coin. Pack, Optional Mythic Barracks times 1 Mythic, price, 1 gold coin. Consecutive top-tier stock. Suyu felt ecstatic. The path to invincibility stretched clearer than ever. A mythic hero, barracks, treasure chest, and wonder all in one place. The automated steel mill processed iron ore into refined ingots and high-grade steel. He hoped more stock would refresh soon. He could never have enough. Another female hero awaited summoning. He wondered what she would look like. He had no particular fondness for dragonkind. I'll buy everything. Suyu opened his inventory to check the epic tier wonder, Ether Purification Hot Springs. Ether Purification Hot Springs, rarity, epic, structure, natural scenic wonder. Attributes, restoration. Soaking within the springs recovers stamina and most negative status ailments. Visitors gain a cheerful mood, making it easier to raise loyalty. Baptism. Soakers continuously earn experience and receive the Steadfast buff. Steadfast, improved battlefield resilience, greater resistance to routing, plus 15 march speed. The effects were excellent. Bathing granted experience alongside a permanent positive buff. Thanks to his Warlord passive, only the plus 15 march speed benefited him, yet every advantage counted. The most appealing feature remained the hot springs themselves. Naturally, he planned to share them with his heroes. The wonder appeared as a hot spring mountain with multiple bathing zones. Suyu reserved the summit springs as an exclusive area for himself and his heroes. Next came the optional Mythic Barracks pack. Suyu opened the selection menu and scanned the options. Abyss of the 7 Deadly Sins, Holy Light Cathedral, Summit of Trials, Protocol of Purge, Ancient Dragon Nest. The list stretched on for pages. After brief consideration, Suyu chose Abyss of the 7 Deadly Sins. The reasoning was simple. Elise embodied the sin of pride. It was logical to prioritize recruiting allies of the same faction. Elise remained his highest-level hero, and recruiting more of the 7 deadly sins would unlock set bonuses later. Having confirmed his choice, it was time to summon his new hero, Mother of Dragons Tiamat. A burst of golden light washed over the room, revealing a graceful figure beside the bed. Her snow-white hair cascaded down to her waist, crowned by massive curved dragon horns. Her ocean blue eyes intertwined divine radiance with a gentle maternal warmth. She wore a white form-fitting outfit embroidered with blue and gold thread. Extra fabric from her waist formed a short skirt, while wide white shoulder straps decorated with golden patterns stretched across her torso and extended toward her thighs. A long translucent indigo train resembling a fishtail trailed behind her, woven with star-like markings and golden heraldry. Clever cutout detailing adorned her attire, highlighting her elegant physique. Long white stockings covered her slender legs, paired with blue high heels. Her height matched Talia's, if not slightly taller. Name, Mother of Dragons Tiamat. Level, Black Iron 1 star. Identity, Sea Goddess, Dragon God. Race, Divine Being, Dragon. Recruitable troops, Dragons, Faction, Chaotic Neutral. Hero Command Bonus. All dragons gain plus 300 to all attributes. Aquatic races gain plus 300 to all attributes. Weapon, Authority of the Dragon God. Talents, Dragon God. Immunity to magic damage and debuffs. Possesses bloodline suppression that can inflict mental confusion and rout status on foes. Dragon Mother. Owning this hero unlocks the wonder, Spire of Dragon Roosts. Skills, Dragon Transformation Progressive Enhancement, Dragon Language Magic, Primal Chaos Dragon Breath, Composite Elemental Breath, usable only in dragon form. Evaluation. A sea goddess's path to invincibility grows wider with multiple divine portfolios. But who might you be? She came with a built-in wonder. Good morning, Lord. Tiamat bowed slightly, a tender smile on her face. "Shall I prepare breakfast for you? Sandwiches and fresh milk would be ideal." She waved, transforming universal provisions into a nourishing sandwich, and stepped forward to feed Suyu. Suyu bit into the sandwich. After taking a bite, he asked instinctively, "Wait, where's the milk?" Moments later, the milk appeared, and Suyu enjoyed the refreshing drink handed to him. "Huh, who is this creature?" The young demon girl stirred awake. Upon spotting the dragon goddess, she immediately let out a hostile huff. Iris sat on a chair, glancing at the other heroes around her before looking down at herself, her mood sinking. The taste of my lord is truly vulgar. He is endlessly energetic day after day, just like a wild beast. Iris eyed Talia and Tiamat with disdain, her words tinged with undisguised resentment. Suyu explained that her boundless vitality stemmed from Talia's innate talent, which kept him brimming with energy every single day. Besides, what was this talk of poor taste? He merely appreciated beauty. He admired all forms of it. Suyu grew curious. "Then what kind of taste would you consider refined?" Iris answered without a moment's hesitation. "Naturally, only me. My beauty is unparalleled. I am the most lovely of all, and my figure is graceful and perfect." As she spoke, she stood upon the chair and spun around to show off her looks and physique. Iris kept talking at length. Suyu came to a clear conclusion. She believed his admiration ought to belong solely to her, no one else, not even those who resembled her. He stepped forward, lifted Iris off the chair, and settled her onto his lap, gently patting her head to soothe her. "There now, Iris is the most beautiful. No need to be jealous. Here, have the dessert I prepared for breakfast." "I am not jealous. I merely wish to correct your poor taste." And, she bit into the dessert held to her lips. "Don't pick me up all of a sudden, but I will overlook this overstepping, for the sake of the sweets." Bite after bite of small cakes helped Suyu calm Iris's sour mood completely. Watching the warm interaction between the two, Talia and Tiamat exchanged a glance and smiled silently, choosing not to interrupt. During breakfast, Suyu pondered his current situation. He possessed 3 heroes, yet only 1 dungeon available for farming, and it was merely bronze tier. Iris alone could clear that dungeon with ease. Worse still, experience rewards diminished greatly when fighting foes far weaker than oneself. Enemies 1 major tier below granted only 50% experience, while foes 2 major tiers down yielded a mere 1%. Now that Iris had reached mithril rank, grinding this dungeon was far too inefficient. Suyu resolved to purchase more dungeon stones. Newcomer chat channel, I don't cheat. Guys, anyone selling dungeon stones? Higher tiers preferred. 1 dungeon isn't enough for grinding. Message me privately if interested. White Dragon King, it's the big shot. Capture. Master Ball cut along the dotted line. It's the big shot. Capture. Master Ball Caveman. It's the big shot. Capture. Master Ball. After finishing his meal, Suyu opened his private message panel. He filtered messages to show only those received today and began scrolling through them. Skipping all irrelevant chatter, he soon spotted a promising message. "Caveman. Big shot. I've got a mithril tier dungeon stone. Are you interested? I don't cheat, certainly. Can you show me what dungeon it unlocks?" Suyu sent the message, and a reply arrived shortly after. Caveman. Image newcomer cave spider nest dungeon stone type. Dungeon quality. Mithril usage restriction. Automatically vanishes once the newcomer trial concludes. Rating rewards SSS. 1 prism crystal tier treasure chest 1-time use SS. 2 radiant gold tier treasure chests 1-time use S. 1,000 stone blocks. 500 iron ore. 1,000 units of mithril tier rations A. 500 ironwood. 500 stone blocks. 500 units of bronze tier rations B. 250 ironwood. 250 stone blocks. Reminder. Achieving a high rating grants all rewards from lower rating tiers, as well. This looked excellent. I don't cheat. What price are you asking? Caveman. 10,000 gold coins. The other party tossed out a tentative offer. While this was a bargain for such an item, resources mattered most for survival in these early days. Valuable items that could not be used immediately were less vital. Even great treasures needed buyers with sufficient funds. For most players only on the 3rd day of the trial, 10,000 gold coins was an astronomical sum far out of reach. Seeing Suyu was a powerful player, the seller set what they thought was a fair premium price. Suyu knew these dungeon stones could be farmed easily in the early game. I don't cheat. I'll accept your asking price. Send the trade details for the dungeon stone. Caveman. The big shot is magnificent. Thank you so much. Caveman. Trade code at Jiaoyi 3976381627. Relieved that Suyu did not haggle, the seller sent the trade code at once, fearing he might change his mind. Suyu copied the code and searched it within the newcomer trade panel. The corresponding item popped up. He confirmed the price was indeed 10,000 gold coins and completed the purchase. Trade successful afterward, Suyu bought 2 more mithril tier newcomer dungeon stones. Bronze tier stones no longer held any appeal to him. Unfortunately, he could not find any radiant gold tier dungeon stones. Those would likely become available in a few more days. Stepping out of the Lord's Manor, Suyu began his work for the day. He needed to plan carefully before placing territory facilities. Once constructed, buildings could not be moved freely. Demolition would be required to reposition them, and reconstruction demanded blueprints he did not possess for every structure. Once torn down, they were gone for good. The same rule applied to wonders. No blueprints existed for wonders. Demolishing one meant losing it forever. That made thorough urban planning essential. Switching to the top-down God view of construction mode, he placed each structure one by one. Pure Heavenly Lake, Abyss of the 7 Deadly Sins, Ether Purification Hot Springs. Pure Heavenly Lake Rarity, Rare Wonder Building Type. Wonder, Natural Scenery. Perpetual Flow, the lake's waters will never run dry. Purification, the water cannot be contaminated and carries inherent cleansing properties. Drinking it grants 1 hour of spiritual purification. Lake Spirits, water spirits may spawn within the lake. Aquatic creatures dwelling here gain a massive loyalty boost. Spiritual purification greatly increases resistance against mental attacks. Evaluation. Fun fact, the larger the lake surface, the faster water spirits will emerge. Abyss of the 7 Deadly Sins quality. Mythic building type. Barracks recruitment cost. 1 unit / 10,000 gold coins. Suyu's current finances would struggle to support its recruitment cost. Wonders could be scaled up or down. As a vital water source, Pure Heavenly Lake needed ample space. So he placed it at a distance from the main compound. The Abyss of the 7 Deadly Sins took the form of a cathedral. Suyu positioned it near the Lord's Manor, yet far enough to reserve space for future expansions of the manor itself. Suyu wanted to explore the cathedral interior. Exiting the God view of construction mode, he turned to summon the 3 women behind him, and froze at the sight before him. Tiamat had changed into a new form. Her body was covered in crimson dragon scales forming natural armor, paired with a long skirt woven from the same draconic scales. Her hands had transformed into dragon claws. A massive, vivid red dragon tail dragged across the ground. Coupled with twisted dragon horns and shifting golden beast-like eyes, her imposing, domineering aura overwhelmed her usual gentle warmth. Suyu stared in shock. Tiamat, why have you transformed all of a sudden? Tiamat smiled, and that soft expression cut through her fierce appearance, radiating maternal warmth. I will march into battle to fight for you today, so I activated the first stage of my dragon transformation in advance. How do I look? Incredible, Suyu replied earnestly. He wondered why her dragon scales were crimson. Was her true form a red dragon? That was not the case. Red dragons possessed a fearsome reputation. As the foremost of the 5 colored dragons, their power and notoriety perfectly showcased overwhelming strength. If Suyu wished it, Tiamat could shift her scales to any other color. The cathedral adopted Gothic architecture, adorned with grotesque stone statues that appeared eerie at first glance, yet revealed a strange kind of beauty upon prolonged observation. Suyu pushed open the cathedral's heavy doors. Inside stood an altar and 7 giant statues. A jagged spatial rift tore open at the altar's center, as if ripped apart by brute force. Blood-red light swirled within it, offering no clue as to where it led. The 7 statues lining the cathedral represented the demon lords of the 7 deadly sins, each shaped uniquely. All but the statues of lust and pride bore grotesque appearances. The statue of lust spoke for itself. The statue of pride depicted an exceptionally handsome demon. Or rather, was he handsome? Crash. The pride statue shattered, struck by Iris's sin greatsword. I am Pride, the sole ruler of the 7 sin hells. This pretender dares to usurp my place. Iris seethed with rage at the audacious usurpation. When she found this impostor, she would tear it limb from limb, slice it apart, hack it to pieces. She then invoked word of power, domination, forcing the broken stone fragments to rearrange and reshape into a statue of herself. Upon advancing to mithril rank, Iris had unlocked 2 new skills. Name, Iris Aragon. Skills, Scorn weakens enemy attack and movement speed. Repulse forceful push, silence mute. Word of power, domination command a limited number of targets. Authority of pride word of power, she had not anticipated this skill could also control inanimate objects. Easy now. If we ever encounter this being, we can defeat it directly. Don't let anger consume you. Suyu calmed her with a pat on the head. Iris quickly settled down, tilting her head to rub against his palm. Speaking haughtily, since you have asked so nicely, I will simply slay it swiftly when the time comes. She suppressed all the brutal punishments she imagined and savored his gentle touch. Tiamat watched the tender scene between the two, her heart melting. They were utterly adorable. Talia felt the same way, though she longed to ruffle Suyu's hair and shower him with affection. After finishing their tour, Tiamat stepped forward to ask a question. Lord, have you decided where to place my nest of 10,000 dragons? I completely forgot about it. Suyu glanced away awkwardly. Hero-exclusive wonders did not appear within his construction menu. He had been preoccupied with dragon nests and neglected this one. It was an understandable oversight. I will place it behind the Lord's manor. Moments later, the wonder nest of 10,000 dragons materialized behind the manor. It took shape as a vast mountain valley, temporarily shrunk to fit the territory's current boundaries. Suyu examined its stats. Nest of 10,000 dragons rarity. Mythic building type. Wonder primordial nest. Unlocks summoning rights for dragonkin subjects. All varieties of dragons may be summoned at random, with increased odds of summoning hero-grade units. Dragon Mother's tenderness. The loyalty of all dragons rises alongside Tiamat's loyalty. All dragons gain plus 200 to all attributes and regenerate 3 of their maximum HP each second. Dragon Lord's aura. Within territory bounds, all enemy units suffer a 35 reduction to their final all attributes. Astounding. Summoning rights for dragon subjects, massive buffs for all dragons, and a powerful debuff against invaders. The attribute reduction applied to final damage calculations, making it devastatingly effective. So you check the subject summoning privileges. Subject summoning rights. Forest elves, dragons summon, dragonkin. 1 unit / 1 gold coin subject summoning rights were an extraordinary feature. Players either obtained them randomly upon becoming a lord, or seized them by conquering other lords' territories. The greatest advantage of these rights was the ability to summon subjects for merely 1 gold coin apiece. Every dragon summoned was at minimum legendary rarity. In other words, 1 gold coin purchased a legendary grade soldier. The term subject was a general classification. Subjects could serve as troops. What incredible abilities. I'm grateful to have you, Dragon Mother. Era, I am delighted you appreciate it. Hearing her preferred title, Tiamat cupped her cheeks, utterly overjoyed. Suyu inscribed Tiamat into the Hall of Heroes. The Hall's hero attribute bonus rose to plus 30. Now it was time to begin monster hunting and level up. As for the mythic treasure chest, he would open it alongside all the other chests tonight. Mythic chests mainly yielded high-tier materials and blueprints, which he had no immediate use for. Suyu sorted out his battle arrangements. We have 3 mithril-tier dungeons. Iris, you should be able to clear one alone, correct? Iris replied without hesitation. Naturally, eradicating such insignificant creatures requires barely any effort. Her tone brimmed with unshakable pride. Tiamat spoke up as well. I can clear a dungeon single-handedly too. Suyu nodded. If his heroes expressed confidence, he would let them test their strength. He could scarcely fathom the true power of mythic-tier heroes after what Iris had demonstrated the previous day. Last came Talia. Talia pointed at herself with a hint of unease. Am I meant to clear a dungeon alone as well? That was my initial thought. No, wait. Suyu quickly corrected himself. He had nearly forgotten she was primarily a support unit. He could not risk her coming to harm. You will lead all our troops to tackle the final mithril-tier dungeon. Talia relaxed. If her lord had ordered her to fight alone, she would have given everything to complete the challenge. That did not guarantee victory, however. With arrangements nearly finalized, Suyu activated his lord's authority to summon dragonkin. You have spent 20 gold coins to summon 20 dragons. White light erupted, and numerous vibrantly colored dragons emerged from the nest of 10,000 dragons. There were red dragons of the 5 colored dragons, ice dragons, golden dragons, and more. The variety was broad, all bearing the dragonkin tag. Their rarities varied, yet none fell below legendary grade. At level 1, each was only 3 meters long, not counting their tails, existing as dragon whelps. This was a unique trait of dragons within the Lord game. Dragons only grew larger as they leveled up, while dragons were an exception. Level 1 meant juvenile form. This posed no trouble. With Tiamat leading them in the buffs from the nest of 10,000 dragons, these whelps received a 500 boost to all attributes plus continuous health regeneration, making them a formidable fighting force. Dragons possessed extraordinarily high base stats to begin with. Still, Suyu chose not to summon more for the time being. Dragons had enormous appetites. A single whelp consumed 10 units of food per meal, totaling 30 units every day. 20 whelps ate 600 food units daily. As they matured, their food requirements would grow even larger. Until he secured a stable food supply, he would limit dragon summoning. I will entrust these 20 whelps to you. I shall care for these young ones, rest assured. The dungeon expeditions were set to begin. The 3 mithril tier dungeons were Newcomer Cave Spider Nest, Newcomer Minor Kingdom Battlefield, and Newcomer Ape Jungle. All carried the Newcomer tag. Once the Newcomer trial concluded, these dungeon stones would vanish forever. Dungeon stones without the Newcomer tag dropped extremely rarely and sold for exorbitant prices. They could even be passed down to descendants once the trial ended. For now, so you could only acquire variants bound to the trial. Permanent dungeon stones were impossible to find on the market. No matter, he would earn sufficient wealth during the Newcomer phase to purchase them later. Iris entered Newcomer Cave Spider Nest. Talia led the army into Newcomer Minor Kingdom Battlefield. After the other 2 departed, Tiamat brought her 20 dragon whelps into Newcomer Ape Jungle. Upon entering the dungeon, Iris found herself at the mouth of a vast cavern. The cave stretched endlessly into darkness, dotted with faint pinpricks of light deep within. Objective: eliminate all spiders within the cavern. Your rating will be determined by the number of foes slain. This dungeon did not spawn enemies in successive waves. Instead, all monsters resided within the environment from the start. Dungeons of this format carried greater risk, yet that suited Iris perfectly. My choice was indeed correct. As the embodiment of pride, I stand supreme. Iris reclined casually upon a phantom throne. She saw no need to venture deep into the cave to confront such insignificant vermin. The moment the system objective appeared, she entered her optimal combat state. Domain expansion, Authority of Pride. The power of Authority of Pride surged through rock and soil, enveloping the winding cavern and marking every living creature inside. Within 2 seconds, every detail deep underground appeared clearly in Iris's mind. By the power of pride, you shall die with honor. Her voice was cold and haughty, utterly different from her usual demeanor, unrestrained malice and arrogance permeating every word. As the words fell, the bodies of the cave spiders twisted violently, even those still trapped within unhatched eggs. The cave matriarch spider boss could not resist the power either. Its health plummeted rapidly until it reached 0. The dungeon cleared in mere seconds. Golden light burst repeatedly from Iris as she leveled up, advancing all the way to Mithril 9-star, only 1 step away from Radiant Gold rank. The only cost was a minor drain on her mana pool. Dungeon cleared rating, SSS. Rewards have been delivered to your lord's inventory. Is this truly Iris's full strength? Inside the dungeon, Iris waved her hand proudly. Servant, reset the dungeon. Suyu watched the triumphant Iris within the dungeon and activated the dungeon stone to restart the instance. The scenery inside blurred abruptly before clearing once more. The dungeon had refreshed. Iris unleashed her skill Authority of Arrogance again. An invisible domain instantly enveloped every living creature within the cavern. Die! Crack! Crack! Spiders throughout the cave were twisted into broken fragments and perished on the spot. A brilliant leveling light burst from Iris, raising her rank to Golden 2-star. She gained a new skill, Wrath of Arrogance Enhanced Attack. Dungeon cleared. Rating SSS. Rewards. Continue. Iris ignored the system notifications ringing beside her and urged Suyu outside to refresh the dungeon without delay. All she wanted now was to exhaust her mana bar so she could return and spend time alone with her servant. Talia's progress was also quite smooth. The small nation war dungeon required selecting a faction and aiding NPCs to claim victory in a battle. While the weakest enemy units were all silver tier, Suyu commanded legions of exceptional quality. Coupled with Talia's innate talent and support from allied NPCs, the battlefield quickly tilted overwhelmingly in their favor. The clang and roar of combat echoed endlessly. Armored foot soldiers wielding spears charged relentlessly against the shield wall of Chaos Abyss Knights. Charge! Charge! Clang! Clang! Yet the Chaos Abyss Knights boasted towering base stats, standing firm amid endless assaults. Thick thunderclouds had gathered overhead, flickering with lightning. Moments later, over a dozen bolts crashed down, blasting enemy troops into disarray. With the thunderstorm fully formed, Storm Magi at the rear unleashed chain lightning against soldiers trapped before the shield wall. Talia lacked experience leading armies, so she adopted the safest tactic, establishing a defensive formation at the battlefield's center. Enemy melee units could not break through the shield wall. Only a handful of ranged attacks managed to bypass the formation to target the Storm Magi, yet they were blocked by barriers granted by the Chaos Abyss Knights. If any damage slipped through, Talia's passive vital renewal would mend all wounds. The war proceeded steadily until its conclusion. Tiamat's dungeon took the form of a vast jungle. Monkey monsters clutched stones, but the moment they spotted Tiamat and her 20 young dragons, they fell under the influence of her talent dragon god, afflicted by mental confusion and panic. They tumbled straight out of the trees. The young dragons then pounced and tore them apart. Though the hatchlings could breathe dragon fire, they were still too small to make efficient use of the ability, relying mostly on their jaws. To clear the dungeon faster, Tiamat fully transformed into her dragon form. A dozens-meter-long azure dragon rose into the air, golden eyes sweeping over her brood. She lifted the young dragons with the dragon spell levitation. Powered by beating wings and levitation magic, she took flight. Then she set the jungle ablaze. Her fiery breath ignited the forest below, burning every area she flew over. By the time her fire reached the monkey beasts, they were already incapacitated by the mental chaos inflicted by Dragon God. 2 young fire dragons, caught up in the fun, flew off to start spreading flames of their own. Ice and water dragons, who disliked heat, curled up comfortably on their mother's back to watch. Before long, the moderately sized jungle dungeon was engulfed in a sea of fire. Shortly afterwards, the dungeon clear notification chimed. Dungeon cleared. Rating SSS. Rewards have been delivered to the Lord's backpack. Recognizing the dungeon was complete, Tiamat knew it was time to leave and led her young dragons out of the instance. Her claws touched grass once again, yet Suyu was nowhere to be seen. Before she could set out to search for him, another dungeon opened. Without hesitation, Tiamat turned to resume dungeon raiding. If her lord had restarted the dungeon, he must be watching somewhere nearby. Iris leaned by the window, half her head poking out to scout the surroundings. Ugh, I told you this spot isn't ideal. This way I can check if the others have finished their dungeons, so I can ask you to reset them promptly. Iris shuddered upon hearing this and spun around angrily. Don't think I'm fooled. You can reset dungeons remotely without waiting for them to exit. Also, I can barely reach the ground like this. Put me down. I refuse. By noon, Talia finally advanced to Bronze 6-star and unlocked a new skill, Entangling Thorns. This area of effect attack skill freed her from her previous predicament of limited offensive options and slow leveling. Tiamat reached Golden 1-star. Burning the jungle proved extremely efficient, yet most experience flowed directly to her. Apart from the fire dragons who helped ignite the woods, the other hatchlings gained very little. After advancing to Golden Tier, Tiamat began sending the young dragons out to hunt. All gained levels gradually. Most sat between Iron 8-star and 9-star. Those fire dragons who assisted in burning the forest climbed to Bronze 5 to 6-star. Iris drifted over on her throne, her delicate, lovely face still flushed. She sat upright, legs together covered in black silk stockings. Her tone carried unmasked arrogance and satisfaction. Finally back. Everyone, you may rest now. Talia glanced around, unable to spot Suyu. Where is the Lord? She asked. Iris's smugness could no longer be concealed. Right now, he's still in bed and unable to get up. Without vital renewal to sustain him, my servant is quite vulnerable. Where on earth had she picked up that phrase? Still, Iris had hogged his time alone. Talia resolved to spend ample time with the Lord later. Though countless thoughts raced through her mind, she maintained her gentle smile. Let us go check on him then. We shall share lunch together soon. Tiamat nodded in agreement. Indeed, I must prepare nourishment for him. Fresh milk is highly nutritious. The women exited the bathroom after washing up. Suyu walked forward and pulled Talia into a tight embrace. Talia's cheeks flushed pink as she felt his closeness, gently hugging him back. Has the Lord grown eager so quickly after our separation? Suyu lifted his head and gasped, filled with gratitude. I'm so glad you're back. I cannot manage without you. Talia, I nearly exhausted all my strength. Dungeons existed in separate spaces, so Suyu could not receive the buff from Talia's talent within them. What was meant to be quiet leisure time had ended with Iris taking charge. Suyu's physique was only slightly stronger than an ordinary human. He stood no match for these powerful heroines. By the end, he was completely drained. Seeing his worn state, Talia cupped his cheeks gently. I will follow the Lord forever, rest assured. Of course, every one of you is my most trusted support. Everyone took seats and began lunch. From the spread of dishes, Suyu chose tomato scrambled eggs, braised pork, and mapo tofu. The others picked meals suited to their tastes. Iris and Tiamat favored meat, so their plates were piled with various meat dishes, while Talia preferred vegetarian fare. It was hard to believe she maintained such a graceful figure on a plant-rich diet. Once the meal concluded, bowls and plates vanished automatically, no cleanup required. Suyu sipped a glass of fresh milk specially prepared by Tiamat, slumping back in his chair to browse the new player chat channel. Trademaster of Divine Nine Sect. Everyone, does anyone still need lumber on the third day? I'm putting 200,000 units of wood up for trade. Lao Yu of Prison 9 Sect. Man, another expert? I have no cheats. 666. What a pro. White Dragon King. This trial has gathered countless outstanding participants. Each player grows craftier by the day. Radiant Angel of Divine Nine Sect. I suppose I should list some goods too. Suyu was stunned by the Trademaster's message. 200,000 units of lumber was no trivial resource. Regardless of how he acquired it, this person was undoubtedly a formidable competitor. Moments later, Suyu received an mention. Trademaster of Divine Nine Sect. I have no cheats, great lord. I wish to propose cooperation. I have no cheats, agreed. Suyu sifted through a flood of friend requests and accepted the one sent by the Trademaster. He wondered what deal was on offer. I have no cheats. What form of cooperation do you have in mind? Trademaster of Divine Nine Sect. Let us establish a trade partnership. I will purchase any high-tier materials you possess. Trademaster of Divine Nine Sect. As the strongest participant in this trial, you must retain materials for upgrading your Lord Manor. I am in need of those resources. As a gesture of goodwill, I will buy all future high-tier materials from you at a premium. You will also receive preferential pricing when purchasing goods from me. I have no cheats. That is a generous offer. I have no cheats. So, what are your terms? Slipping into roleplay. Happy cooperation. Trademaster of Divine Nine Sect. Happy cooperation. Suyu closed the chat panel. This partnership sounded promising. He required massive food reserves to sustain his army. Currently, his primary sources of gold were hunting monsters in the wild and opening treasure chests. There existed dungeons designed specifically for gold farming, though Suyu had yet to discover any. Treasure chests always granted gold by default, so the currency was not listed separately in reward notifications. Gold shortages limited troop recruitment, and insufficient food made maintaining armies impossible. Suyu intended to recruit 7 Sins Hell Abyss demons and dragons. Demons demanded exorbitant fees, while dragons consumed staggering amounts of food. Solving either obstacle would let him mass-produce troops. He waited to see what opportunities might arise to ease these burdens. Suyu lay on his bed, feeling somewhat bored. He had no electronic devices to occupy himself. Soon the heroines would return to dungeon raiding, leaving him alone. As for the forest elves, he had already experienced enough diversions with them. Still, he needed to recruit more elves to handle various labor tasks. After a peaceful afternoon rest, Suyu summoned another 80 forest elves, bringing the total count to 100 alongside the original 20. He constructed several additional primary food processing plants and assigned the elves to work within them. Raw ingredients collected from clearing monsters outside the territory were processed into dried meat. Though stored food never spoiled over time, his troops would eat raw meat if supplies were not prepared in advance. The processing plants converted all raw meat into portable dried rations. He grouped these buildings in a designated zone, planning to demolish them later. Next came the fully automatic steel processing plant. Suyu owned only one copy, as it was obtained as a facility rather than a blueprint, and would disappear once demolished. He deliberated extensively before placing it. Fully automatic steel processing plant. Rarity, golden. Production, steel 2 iron, or equals 1 unit steel. Daily output 24 hours, 20,000 units. Description, requires no resident workers. Simply deposit iron ore inside. Suyu deposited 2,000 units of iron ore, aiming to produce 1,000 units of steel for trial purposes. Night fell. Earlier that afternoon, Suyu had placed the wonder structure Ether Baptism Hot Springs. Since it occupied an entire mountain, he positioned it far from the main territory. He could easily fly there riding Tiamat or aboard Iris's floating throne. Additionally, anyone within the hot spring mountain could teleport freely between locations, making travel extremely convenient. Stepping past the folding screen, Suyu prepared for his evening soak. He shed his clothes and sank most of his body into the warm spring water, leaning back against Tiamat. A profound sense of relaxation washed over him. Only the weight atop his head was slightly distracting. Talia rested beside him on his left, wrapping her arms around his arm. She felt wonderfully soft against him. As for Iris, she complained the spring floor was too hard and uncomfortable, so she sat on Suyu's lap for a softer seat. Before long, Their quiet relaxation deepened into peaceful companionship. The effects of ether baptism, hot springs activated. Streams of ether flooded into everyone's bodies and transformed into experience points. Experience bars climbed steadily. The leveling speed felt slow for Golden Tier Iris and Tiamat, yet highly effective for Silver Tier Talia. The hot spring mountain contained multiple thermal pools. Suyu recruited 10 more young dragons, bringing the total to 30 hatchlings soaking in the lower springs. For the young dragons, bathing here was akin to receiving powerful growth stimulants. Their experience bars surged rapidly. Suyu rested one hand on Iris's waist and glanced upward, hoping to gaze at the night sky, only to find the peaks blocked all view of the stars. Suyu sighed contentedly. This is the life. Such peaceful, comfortable days. Once I leave this trial realm, I'll likely be powerful enough to move freely. No, I must reach absolute strength before I act recklessly. I can't afford to grow overconfident. He quickly dismissed the arrogant thought. Veteran outer lords were forces he dared not provoke. Who knew what hidden trump cards those long-lived rulers possessed? Ancient noble clans sheltered undying elders, whose accumulated heritage across generations far outmatched Suyu's own limited resources. He must stay low profile and ensure no outsider discovered the buildings within his territory. If the system shop failed to offer valuable goods in the remaining trial days, he would face disaster. If enemy abilities managed to pinpoint his territory, everything would be lost. He needed to earn gold as quickly as possible. It's time to open my treasure chests. I hope they yield useful blueprints. Suyu rubbed his hands together. Today he held 1 mythic chest, 3 crystal chests, and 6 golden chests. Mythic chests guaranteed high-tier blueprints, yet advanced construction plans demanded rare materials, investments for the distant future. Suyu summoned all chests, letting them rest partially submerged in spring water. He wondered if any water had seeped inside. Open all. Opening them one by one would lack excitement. He preferred unlocking all at once. Common materials and food. 5006000 gold, 3,000 iron ore, 3,000 ironwood, 1,000 earth, wood, water, and dark element crystals. 2,000 light element crystals, 3,000 steel, 50,000 pure soul shards, 50,000 holy radiance ingots. 500000 universal mythic grade food, 6 iron tier blueprints, for bronze tier blueprints. 1 silver tier blueprint, 2 golden tier blueprints, barracks blueprint, radiant holy cathedral legendary. Mythic chests always grant a base of 50 million gold. To top tier players who can obtain such chests, this sum is negligible. But for me, this wealth lets me mass recruit troops. Suyu rubbed his hands excitedly. Tomorrow he would summon some sin demons and push forward with conquest. Yet another barracks blueprint. I wonder how effective it is. Can I gather the required construction materials? He suspected the barracks would be impractical for now. Legendary tier barracks usually required resources he might not own. Let me check the material requirements. Blueprint, Radiant Holy Cathedral. Quality, Legendary. Type, Blueprint, Barracks. Random recruitable units, Radiant Holy Sisters, Radiant Holy Clerics, Radiant Holy Bishops, Radiant Holy Archbishops, Radiant Saintesses. Construction materials, 2,000 ironwood, 2,000 stone, 1,000 steel, 2,000 light element crystals, 500 holy radiance ingots, 2 million gold. Suyu possessed all necessary supplies. The material list was surprisingly modest. The exorbitant gold cost balanced out the low material demands. There was no more hesitation. He would build it immediately. He was curious to see the capabilities of these radiant holy sisters. Suyu's train of thought was interrupted mid-conversation with Iris, prompting her to turn around in mild annoyance. After soothing Iris, he activated construction mode. He placed the cathedral model in the same row as the Lord Manor. Upon inputting all materials, the building materialized instantly under the power of the Lord system. Radiant Holy Cathedral. Quality, Legendary. Building type, Barracks. Recruitment cost, 1,000 gold per unit. Description: most units produced here are powerful healers and support casters with modest direct combat strength. Finally, auxiliary troops. Without reliable healing support, I constantly fear unnecessary troop losses. Now that funds are plentiful, I'll recruit 500 first. I'm eager to see these holy sisters. 50,000 gold was deducted. 500 radiant holy sisters marched out from the cathedral. Unfortunately, his luck was poor. No higher-ranking clerics appeared among the recruits. Suyu issued orders for the newly summoned soldiers to head to the hot spring mountain. Freshly recruited troops started at Iron 1 star. The hot springs accelerated leveling. making this the perfect chance to raise their strength. Half an hour later, Suyu was playfully gripping Tiamat's dragon horns when he spotted 10 figures stepping past the folding screen. They wore black and white nun robes with high slits running up to the thighs. Long, elegant legs wrapped in white knee-high stockings shimmered softly, blending purity with quiet restraint. Their tall figures were accentuated by the tailored robes. Delicate, beautiful faces carried a faint aura of holiness, creating a striking contrast of temperament. Sensing the pressure on her dragon horns lighten, Tiamat took advantage of Suyu's momentary distraction and swiftly drained all his milk in one massive gulp. Suyu snapped back to his senses, trembling with exasperation. Mother Dragon, you cheated. Tiamat lifted her head and opened her jaws to display her spoils before swallowing everything down. Her usual gentle smile carried a hint of mischief. It was the Lord who failed to keep a close watch. How can you blame me? I'll deal with you later. First, I need to investigate which deity the nuns worship. Day 4. Suyu pushed away the long legs draped over him and sat up from the large bed, feeling thoroughly refreshed. He opened the system shop to see what goods had refreshed for him today. Bring me more wonders and heroes. System Gold Coin Shop. Wonder, Trial Babel Tower Supreme. Unique 1 gold coin. Trait, Unwavering Stamina Blue 1 gold coin. Material, 1 million assorted elemental crystals 1 gold coin. Pack, Attribute Food Bundle 1 gold coin. Blueprint, World Barrier Supreme. Unique 1 gold coin. 2 supreme unique items in a row. My luck is incredible. Suyu's gaze was instantly drawn to the words Supreme, Unique, marking the highest possible quality. To receive 2 of them on the same day was extraordinary. Shifting his sight, he spotted the Unwavering Stamina trait. Trait, Unwavering Stamina Blue, greatly boosts endurance, physical stature, and regenerative capabilities. Is that all? Suyu muttered in slight disappointment. He purchased every item listed. The trait took effect immediately. A wave of warmth washed over his body, fading quickly. Yet when he glanced down, his eyes widened in shock. Wow, this is far more powerful than an ordinary blue-gray trait. No man could turn this down. My combat prowess has reached new heights. Now let's check the details for the wonder and blueprint. Suyu immediately opened his lord's inventory and pulled up the description for Trial Babel Tower. Trial Babel Tower. Quality, Supreme, Unique Type, Wonder. Instance Conquest. Each floor of the tower functions as a separate instance. Higher floors feature greater difficulty and richer rewards, and must be cleared sequentially. Fortune. Every midnight, all rewards from floors you have conquered will be delivered once to your lord's inventory. Ascension. The Babel Tower possesses an infinite number of floors. Trial. For every floor cleared, all your subjects gain a permanent 1 boost to all attributes. World Barrier Blueprint. Quality, Supreme, Unique Type, Construction Blueprint. Materials. World Source convertible from other materials times 1 per meter of wall. World Barrier. Cannot be crossed by any means. The only way to pass is to breach the barrier itself. Self-repair. Recovers 5 of its maximum health every second. High-grade resistance. Immune to all attacks below mythic rarity. World Source. Can be converted from other materials. Example. 100 million timber equals 1 world source. Excuse me? 100 million timber just for a single unit of world source. Suyu was stunned. 1 meter of this barrier required 100 million timber to construct. Encircling the entire territory would demand astronomical quantities of resources. He planned to at least erect a ring around the Lord's manor before exiting the novice phase. With access to higher-tier materials in the future, the project would become feasible. The Trial Babel Tower was undoubtedly the most practical acquisition today. It granted him unlimited access to instances. All he needed to do now was level up rapidly. In the later novice stage, his priority would be expanding territory. All land claimed before the novice trial concluded would be transported together into the Chaos Sea. The larger his territory, the greater the buffer zone he would possess. After breakfast, Suyu activated build mode and placed the Trial Babel Tower. The model of the tower was enormous. Layer upon layer, it stretched upward toward the clouds. A stone staircase coiled around its exterior like a giant serpent winding around a pillar. The tower occupied a vast area, roughly equal to 2 football fields. Suyu dressed amid the astonished stares of the women. After washing and eating, he assembled his army and headed toward the tower. Trial Babel Tower, Floor 1, Difficulty, Iron 1 star. Floor Rewards, 1,000 timber, 1,000 stone, 1,000 basic rations, 1,000 gold coins. Once cleared, rewards are automatically granted once daily after midnight. As long as Suyu conquered enough floors, he would receive a steady stream of resources every day without needing to rerun the instances. Setting timber and stone aside, the rations and gold coins were invaluable. With sufficient food supplies, he could begin forming a dragon legion. The difficulty is quite low, though. It's better to split our forces. Seeing the Iron 1-star difficulty rating, Suyu decided on a two-pronged strategy. During the previous expansion campaign, Elise and Talia had already pushed the frontier through the forest into the Golden Tier regions. He would send Elise and Talia to lead troops to level and expand territory, while Tiamat took the young dragons to clear the tower instances. Despite their small size, boosted by Suyu's trait, the young dragons enjoyed a 600 increase to all attributes, alongside continuous health regeneration from the dragon roost. Their combat power and survivability were beyond question. When Elise and Talia's army first reached Golden Tier territory, they only had fragile casters like storm mages on their roster, lacking frontline tanks to absorb damage. Direct assaults would lead to unnecessary casualties. Now they commanded Chaos Abyss Knights to hold the front, supported by healing and buffs from Radiant Holy Church nuns. So you could confidently say, we can move freely across Golden Tier lands. Any foes we encounter will be dealt with effortlessly. Radiant Holy Church Nun. Rank: Iron 6-star race. Human grade. Legendary alignment. Lawful good. Equipment: Standard Radiant Holy Church Nun robes. Radiant Standard necklace. Talent: Blessing of the Radiant Goddess. All healing and shield spells cast by the nun gain 100 effectiveness. Units protected by such magic receive Radiant Blessing, granting fixed bonus damage, which doubles against all dark-aligned targets. Skills: Radiant Heal Single Target Healing. Mass Radiant Recovery Group Healing. Radiant Ward Group Shield. Evaluation: They would impress me anywhere else, but here, they still have room to grow. Thanks to the hot spring retreat the previous day, the nuns had reached Iron 6-star. When auxiliary units are integrated into an army, they receive a small portion of experience as soldiers defeat enemies. They would level steadily. Experience gained from Golden Tier combat, even a fraction of it, represented massive progress for these Iron rank nuns. Elise and Talia will lead all non-dragon troops to hunt monsters and expand territory. Tiamat will take the young dragons to climb the Babel Tower. Very well, if my lord commands it. Elise was reluctant to leave, yet she knew she ought to follow Suyu's plan. If she stayed behind, she might have enjoyed quiet moments alone with him just like the day before, while everyone else was away. Elise and Talia departed. With permanent instances at his disposal, Suyu resolved to recruit more dragon subjects. At just 1 gold coin apiece, it was an opportunity not to be wasted. Dragons consumed vast quantities of food and demanded high regular wages due to their greed for treasure, yet the Eternal Oath eliminated wage expenses entirely. Suyu only needed to provide food and shelter. He recruited another 80 young dragons, bringing the total to 100. These juvenile dragons consumed 3,000 units of rations each day. Fortunately, the tower instances generated enough supplies to sustain them. As the young dragons trotted over from the dragon roost, Suyu noticed an out-of-place young woman riding atop one white Wirem. She possessed snow-white hair adorned with a simple crown-like ornament. A black inner garment covered her shoulders and neck, with an opening at the chest. White armor edged with icy blue extended from her torso down to her thighs, shaped much like a skirt. Flexible armor plates hung from her waist to shield her flanks and rear. Long legs were covered in black stockings, and her feet were clad in high-heeled iron boots wrapping around her calves, with V-shaped cuffs lined with white spikes. Her arms bore white, ice-blue bracers with spikes protruding backward along the forearms. The armor looked lightweight, yet striking, almost like meticulously crafted ceremonial attire. Coupled with her naturally aloof bearing, she cut a magnificent figure. The young dragons let out roars, unable to speak, yet greeting their great lord. The young woman slid down from the Wirem. Her ice-blue eyes shone with deep reverence. Greetings, lord. I am Fistel. Suyu opened her status panel. Name: Fistel. Rank: Iron 1-star grade. Epic title: Eternal Sovereign of the Ice Plains race. Ancient Ice Dragon. Recruitment source: Dragonkin alignment. Lawful neutral. Hero command bonus: all Dragonkin gain plus 100 to all attributes. All Ice-affiliated units gain plus 80 to all attributes. Weapon: Frostfang Twin Blades. Talents: Ancient Giant Dragon possesses extremely high physical, magical, and mental defense. Sovereign of the Ice Plains, emits frigid aura that alters the surrounding environment, rapidly lowering temperatures. Enemies within range gain 1 stack of frost every 3 to 5 seconds. Targets of insufficient strength will freeze to death once stacks grow too high. Frost debuff. Reduces attack power and agility by 15 per stack, lowers defense, suppresses healing speed by 35, and inflicts continuous ice damage. The stat reductions and ongoing damage escalate with additional stacks. Skills. Dragon Transformation Progressive Self-Enhancement, Frost Breath Damage and Debilitation, Frost Aura Self-Buff, and Application of Frost Stacks. Evaluation. This Fistel forged her twin blades herself using her own dragon teeth, scales, and smelted or to fight in close combat. When overwhelmed, she unleashes a full transformation and a devastating frost breath. Hello, Fistel. Suyu acknowledged her and finalized his arrangements. The 80 newly recruited dragons included this new hero unit, leaving only 99 ordinary WIRMs. Compelled by his perfectionism, Suyu recruited one more WIRM to complete the 100. He inscribed Fistel within the Hall of Heroes. The Hall of Heroes attribute boost rose to 40 for all subjects. A thought crossed his mind. Newly recruited dragons appeared in juvenile form due to their rank, yet Fistel manifested as a young woman rather than a wormling. Following that logic, shouldn't Tiamat have arrived as a juvenile dragoness as well? He quickly recalled the established rule. Hero units retain a fixed appearance, unaffected by racial growth cycles. Second Army Formation. Tiamat alongside Fistel leads the 100 young dragons to conquer the Babel Tower. With Fistel present, her hero bonus activated. The young dragons now received a 700 all-attribute boost, while Ice WIRMS gained 780. Thanks to the Hall of Heroes buff, Tiamat possessed a 740 all-attribute boost, and Fistel an 820 all-attribute boost. Heroes were eligible to receive other heroes' command bonuses. As an Ice-affiliated hero, Fistel additionally benefited from her own plus 80 Ice unit attribute bonus. The cumulative enhancements were staggering. Once the last WRM scurried into formation, Suyu ordered them to enter the tower. All right, you may enter the Babel Tower now. The army stood before the massive structure. At Suyu's command, the great gates swung open, revealing a swirling spatial vortex marking the instant's entrance. Fistel summoned her Frostfang twin blades, the elegant pair of swords materializing in her grasp. This would be her first battle, and she was determined to distinguish herself before her lord and capture his attention. Suyu's gaze lingered prominently on her as she stepped forward. Fistel strode into the instance first. Tiamat observed her outwardly calm, yet inwardly eager demeanor with a quiet smile and followed suit. Inside the instance, it appeared the instance layout was fixed, a gigantic arena. The moment Fistel entered, she activated Sovereign of the Ice Plains. White frost energy burst forth from her body, spreading a thin sheet of ice across the arena ground. Her talent would grow stronger alongside her power. At her peak, she had frozen an entire continent and turned it into an ice plain, hence her title. At her current Iron 1-star rank, the aura only extended 200 meters outward from her position. A gate on the far side of the arena rumbled upward. More than 20 small goblins emerged from the darkness. The goblins stared at the menacing dragon host arrayed opposite them, exchanged panicked glances, then charged forward screaming. The young dragons roared and rushed to meet them. As the goblins stepped onto the frost-covered ground, ice crystals quickly formed across their bodies, inflicting frostbite and slowing their movements. The WIRMS crashed into their ranks and tore into them. A small number of goblins failed to be slain immediately and froze solid, killed outright by the frost debuff due to their inferior rank. Floor 1 cleared. Rewards delivered to Lord's inventory. Daily reward entitlement recorded. Proceed to Floor 2. The notification faded. 2 spatial vortices appeared at the arena's center, golden for advancing to the second floor, blue for exiting the instance. A third option allowed rerunning the current floor. Without hesitation, all the dragons surged into the golden vortex leading to Floor 2. The foes on this level offered barely enough experience to satisfy them. While the Dragon Legion labored away inside the tower, Suyu sold off large stockpiles of timber, stone, and ironwood in exchange for vast quantities of gold coins. The materials were merely gathering dust in storage, and trading them was far more profitable. With over 100 million novice lords across the world, his goods sold out instantly. He also set aside a portion of his elemental crystals to trade with his business partner, the renowned master of interlord commerce. Gold coins flooded into his account in an instant. Money sure comes easy in the early phase. After selling off his goods, Suyu glanced over the items he bought from the first gold shop. He hadn't finished checking all of them yet. Property food gift pack, open. Gift pack opened obtained. Wisdom fruit times 100, Spirit fruit times 100, Strength fruit times 100, Agility fruit times 100, Constitution fruit times 100. The names are awfully plain. Let's see what they do. Suyu pulled up the information panel for the Wisdom fruit. Wisdom fruit. Grade, Supreme. Effect. Grants 5 increase to the consumer's base intelligence attribute upon consumption. Mundane name. Absurdly powerful effect. Wait, what? It boosts base attributes. Suyu was stunned. This was a stat-boosting item. Once heroes hit maximum level, their growth hits a wall. The only ways to raise their stats come from affixes, buildings, equipment, and hero buffs. No other methods existed. Now he learned there was an item that directly added 5 base attribute points. One fruit might not seem like much, but Suyu held 100 of each variety. If a single hero consumed all of them, every base attribute would surge by 500. That was absolutely overpowered. But I can't eat these right now. This isn't a temporary bonus. Buffs to base attributes yield the best returns when used after hitting max level. Heroes were still low level. Their base values were far too small to make the most of the boost. A 5 gain on 1,000 points paled in comparison to 5 of 1 million points. He would distribute them later. Ding, news arrives from your expeditionary force. A pop-up window appeared before Suyu's eyes. Something had happened on Elise' side. What's going on? Did they stumble on a wilderness dungeon or encounter another hero? Suyu opened the message. It stated that they had run into a new faction, the native inhabitants, with a considerable force. The message was also laced with obvious attempts to claim merit. Though labeled natives, these people were NPCs fabricated by the Lord Game. Their histories, experiences, cognition, and environments were full of jarring inconsistencies, as if pre-written scripts. Yet there was no denying they were living, breathing beings. Conquer them if possible. If not, eliminate them. Suyu sent the reply. He was no saint. To survive, constant expansion was mandatory. The Chaos Sea would not generate land out of thin air. When you met native factions while expanding during the novice trial, your options were subjugation or annihilation, unless you lacked the strength to fight. 10 minutes earlier, troops that had entered the Golden Tier territory swept relentlessly through the forest, wiping out every wild monster in sight. The fights were as effortless as a truck rolling over speed bumps. Elise thought the day would drag on without excitement until a Chaos Abyss Knight, serving as a scout, galloped forward. A wolf-eared, wolf-tailed man covered in leather furs lay across the horse's back. Chaos Abyss Knights rode mounts and traveled quickly, making them suitable scouts. The knight dismounted and bowed respectfully. Lady Elise, we have discovered a large tribal settlement ahead, suspected to be a native tribe. He dragged the Leakin male off the horse. Elise grew curious. Natives? Wake him up. Talia cast a healing spell, while the knight smartly landed 2 sharp slaps across the Leakin's face to rouse him physically. Slap. Slap. Hiss. The Leakin jolted awake. Burning pain on his cheeks made him gasp, clutching his face, barely able to speak. Tell us everything about your faction. Elise had no patience to wait for him to recover and ordered him bluntly to hand over intelligence. He would never cooperate voluntarily. He had been caught mid-patrol, nearly killed by a heavy cavalry charge. Information regarding his tribe's safety was something he would never surrender. Yet his mouth moved against his will. Terror flooded his expression as he spilled every detail of the settlement. The tribe holds over 600 people, more than 200 combat-capable warriors. The chieftain is Golden 6-star. Elise already knew he would not talk freely. Without hesitation, she activated her word of command to force him to reveal intelligence. I see. Elise sent word of the native tribe to Suyu via the channel, her message full of hints demanding recognition for her discovery. Shortly after, she received a reply. Conquer them if you can. If not, wipe them out. Elise closed the interface and issued orders with a dark expression. Get up and lead the way. Yes. Bound by the word compulsion, the Leakin guided the army forward. Half an hour later, after capturing numerous patrol Leakin warriors, Elise stared at the tall rampart built from mud and wooden stakes. She marched her army straight toward the tribal gate without hesitation. Elise doubted the tribe could put up any meaningful resistance. She unleashed her authority of arrogance, her power enveloping and restraining the entire settlement. Everyone, come out at once. Using word of command, she forced every inhabitant out of their homes. What's happening? I can't control my body. Me neither. Damn it. What kind of sorcery is this? Confused shouts and curses echoed across the tribe. Within 10 minutes, over 600 people, men, women, and children alike, assembled before the gate. When the Lycans laid eyes on the well-equipped, massive army, their outcries faded into hushed whispers. Silence. Once everyone gathered, Elise muted them all and began her ultimatum. You now have two choices: swear allegiance to us or die. You have 6 minutes to decide. She lifted the silence restriction after speaking, yet the lichens remained immobilized under her power. Talia sighed inwardly. This is hardly how you negotiate a surrender. Setsuna's mood was grim. A few days prior, her father, the tribe's chieftain, had died fighting a powerful monster overlord nearby. As the strongest warrior of the tribe and the chieftain's daughter, she had tearfully inherited leadership. She swore to protect her people and lead the tribe to prosperity. Now, overwhelming power shattered all her ambitions. Submit to servitude or face death. The tribesfolk turned their eyes toward her, waiting for her decision. Setsuna looked at the crowd, every face filled with the desire to live. The whole tribe was trapped under an enemy's control. Her own life rested on the invader's whim. But her people wanted to survive. Then, Setsuna's white wolf ears twitched restlessly. She issued the first critical order of her chieftainship, one that would decide the tribe's fate. If this new master's domain turned out to be hell, they could always choose death later. 6 minutes passed swiftly. The entire tribe shouted in unison, "We swear allegiance to you." Excellent. You understand well. Elise's mood lightened. She waved and lifted the binding power over them. Moments later, Suyu tapped the accept surrender button. The lichens officially became his subjects. Their tribal lands were now his territory. Though separated from his existing domain, Elise continued expanding outward, and the two territories would soon connect. Suyu clicked subjugate. 627 lichen wolf subjects subjugated. You have obtained construction blueprints. Low practical value. The instant the lichens became Suyu's subjects, the affix eternal oath activated. It raised their mediocre loyalty to maximum and locked it permanently. The subjects themselves sensed nothing. But if Suyu commanded them to carry out unreasonable acts, they would convince themselves to obey from within. Over time, they would grow utterly devoted to him. Suyu checked the hero unit from the tribe. Setsuna? The name rings a bell. Name: Setsuna. Tier: Golden 6-star. Rank: Elite. Identity: Tribal Chieftain. Race: Lichen Wolf. Origin Troop: None. Alignment: Lawful Neutral. Hero Command Bonus: Melee troops gain plus 25 strength. Weapon: None. Talent: Ferocity. The lower the target's HP, the higher damage you deal. Skills: Frost Enchantment Self-Enhancement, Rend Damage Debuff, Ice Spike Magical Damage, Ice Spear Long Range Magical Damage, Ambush, Assault Damage. Most of her skills revolved around ice, marking her as an ice-aligned unit. Evaluation: Dispensable for you. Using his godlike perspective, Suyu observed Setsuna. A petite girl with white hair and blue eyes, paired with fluffy white wolf ears and a wolf tail. She wore rough garments stitched from animal hides. The cute appearance contrasted sharply with her wild aura. Suyu spoke firmly. Dispensable? Send her to the Hall of Heroes. A flat 10 universal attribute bonus is not something to pass up. Rank matters little. We can send her to the Holy Grail Wars later to improve. Setsuna, I'm joining the Holy Grail Wars? Seriously? Odo? With that thought, Suyu inscribed Setsuna into the Hall of Heroes. The universal attribute bonus granted by heroes in the hall rose to 50. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Setsuna, newly made Suyu's subject, felt a mark burn into her mind. She understood she was now bound to her lord. At the same time, surging power welled up inside her. Unhealed wounds sustained days ago mended rapidly. I've grown stronger. My injuries are healing at an incredible rate. Setsuna stared at her clenched hands in shock. Her strength had noticeably increased. She was still processing the revelation when a gentle female voice sounded beside her. Rest assured, you are now subjects of our lord. You will never lack food or shelter. Setsuna snapped out of her daze and turned her head. She's so tall. That was her first impression. The woman beside her was Talia, tasked with comforting the newly assimilated subjects. Talia continued softly. You will travel back to the Lord's manor with us tonight. New duties await you soon. Will the whole tribe relocate with us? Our Lord has issued orders for all of you to move and settle together for easier administration. Bring only essential supplies when you depart tonight. I understand. Setsuna nodded and looked up at Talia. My name is Setsuna. What is yours? Call me Talia. That woman seated on the throne over there is Elise. Talia introduced herself and gestured toward Elise in the distance. Thanks to Talia's initiative, the two began chatting. After the army departed, Setsuna stood lost in thought. She lifted a hand to touch her wolf ear, which Talia had stroked earlier. It seemed she had allied herself with an extraordinary power. Her choice had brought her greater strength, freed her tribe from hunger, and laid a bright path forward. She, Setsuna, had seized her future. The trial Tower of Babel practically showered participants with wealth. Floors 1 through 5 spawned black iron 1-star monsters, differing only in quantity, with identical rewards. Floors 6 to 10 held black iron 2-star foes, with upgraded rewards shared across those 5 layers. Rewards stacked similarly for each subsequent tier. Every floor granted resources, and at midnight each day, players collected recurring rewards from all cleared levels. The more floors conquered, the staggering the daily payout Tsuyu stood to receive. Additionally, every cleared floor granted all subjects a permanent 1 universal attribute boost. The Black Iron tier alone contained 50 floors. By the end of the Golden tier, there would be 200 floors in total, stacking up to a permanent 200 universal attribute bonus. Overwhelmingly powerful. I knew the Tower of Babel was broken, but I never imagined it was this absurd. 50 floors just for the Black Iron tier. The rewards will keep pouring in endlessly. Tsuyu's mood lifted. Even if every tier expanded to 100 floors, he would gladly clear them all. Tiamat and Fistel had pushed their way to the Silver tier. They would reach the Golden tier soon. It's nearly noon. Recall them for lunch once they hit Golden tier. I'll calculate the daily resource income once we finish clearing all silver floors first. Back inside the Lord's manor, Tsuyu fetched paper and a quill. Simple arithmetic was done quickly. Upon clearing all silver floors, daily rewards would be Black Iron Silver tier daily settlement. Timber, 750,000 ironwood. 587,500 stone, 750,000 iron ore, 587,500 basic rations, 162,500 bronze grade rations, 212,500 silver grade rations, 375,000 gold coins, 750,000. The figures were breathtaking, and these rewards arrived every single day. Boys, it's time to build a Dragon Legion and a Demon Legion. Haha, I picked the right side. Yi Chen frantically traded resources with his subordinates. His stock of elemental crystals grew visibly. As long as he held 100 units of any resource, he could initiate trades. Relying on his golden rule talent to flip goods and farm gold, Yi Chen had accumulated an astronomical fortune. The wealth was enough to recruit massive numbers of dragon beasts to form a Dragon Beast Legion. Even with their high monthly wages mandated by the dragon affix, he could afford the cost effortlessly. Satisfied supply kept the dragon beasts fiercely loyal. Haha, keep cooperating, and we'll survive the novice trial safely. His fingers ached from constant clicking, yet he refused to stop. He had no interest in claiming first place. Surviving the novice phase was his top priority. Once the trial concluded, far higher grade resources would become available for trading. With his mythic tier talent, he could barely imagine what opportunities awaited him afterward. Once the blacksmith shop produces steel, I can start trading steel. Progress is too slow. I need to acquire more blueprints. Lunch break. After eating, Tsuyu sank into thought. He now possessed stable sources of food and gold. It's time to expand our army. Especially Primal Sin's demons, we don't have a single one yet. But recruitment will wait until tomorrow. Send the Dragon Legion to level up in dungeons today. They can march with Ely's once summoned tomorrow. The Chaos Abyss Knights found the native tribe this time. Maybe I should establish dedicated reconnaissance units. Tsuyu opened his interface and browsed barracks options. His gaze landed on one structure, Forbidden Hunter Barracks. Do I own this? When did I get it? It's legendary grade. Oh, I remember now. He purchased this barracks on the second day after activating his system. Short on funds back then, and with stronger barracks unlocked later, he had completely forgotten its existence. Let's check its stats. Specialization, stealth, long range, solo operations. Recruitment costs 5,000 gold each. Converting existing subjects costs 4,500. So you sipped fresh milk. The unit fit his needs perfectly. Stealth and ranged attacks made them ideal scouts. I'll recruit 21st. 100,000 gold gone, just like that. Forbidden hunters wore thick black overcoats and carried crossbows. Everyone covered their faces with smooth black masks. If you looked closely, faint black mist seeped continuously from their bodies. Forbidden hunter. Tier, Black Iron 1-star. Race, humanoid. Rank, epic. Alignment, chaotic neutral. Armament, forbidden corrosion crossbow, forbidden corrosion dagger. Talent, forbidden power enables non-linear movement. Attacks inflict forbidden corrosion. Forbidden corrosion, reduce movement speed by 50, drain 5 maximum HP per second, suppress mental faculties, crystallize wounded limbs. Only removable by high-tier purification effects. Skills, advanced stealth, assassination, venom enchantment debuff, spatial leap displacement, extreme long-range shot damage, forbidden power absorption purge, forbidden corrosion. Evaluation, ambush specialists who strike from shadows. Perfect. Exactly the sneaky attackers I need. Deploy them to scout ahead. Suyu issued orders directly through the interface, sending them to join Elise's force. The Forbidden Hunters accepted the command. The moment they marched out of the barracks, they headed outside the territory. Their paths twisted erratically, yet they advanced rapidly. Straight lines were never the fastest route for them. The pleasant lunch break soon ended. Bored, Suyu opened the novice chat channel. Leojim and Laoyu. Guys, things are looking up. My mermaid discovered an underwater cave in the lake, and it seems to go really deep. Don't enter the Mystic Garden. You know exactly what I'm going to say. Funny.jpg Silent Observer. I'll come up with impromptu plans. White Dragon King. I'll stir up the silt. No cheats activated. I'll discard the guide rope. Leojim and Laoyu. Hold on. Mermaids are aquatic creatures. Cave diving isn't a problem for them. Leojim and Laoyu. I'll send the mermaid to scout what's inside. Who knows? This might be my chance to escape the prisoner title. Dragon Lord, don't make Desert Lady laugh. Dreaming to be a top lord, don't make Desert Lady laugh. Lying on his bed, Suyu chatted casually in the channel for quite a while. The sun gradually sank below the horizon. Night fell. The returning army marched onto the plains, bringing along the tribes they had subdued that day. Everyone leveled up somewhat. Golden tier monsters granted generous experience. Unfortunately, wild monsters weren't enough for everyone to share. Dungeons were far more efficient for leveling. Suyu constructed 10 more buildings. He now had housing for 4,320 people, ensuring the newly recruited residents wouldn't have to sleep out on the grass overnight. Very good, my subordinate. You came to greet me the moment I returned. I shall reward you well this evening. Elise wore an arrogant expression, making no mention of subduing the native tribes. In her eyes, that was only what she ought to accomplish. She would be quite displeased if she only commanded a small number of enslaved people. Otherwise, she would never choose to obey him. Elise noticed the elegant, aloof Fistel beside Suyu, her tone turning sour. But who is this person? She's a newly summoned hero who arrived while you were out campaigning. Her name is Fistel. Suyu introduced Fistel when Elise asked. Though cold and reserved, Fistel offered a greeting. Greetings. Hello. Elise glanced at Suyu and replied half-heartedly. Where did this sudden tension come from? Hiding behind Talia, Shauna watched the scene and silently thought to herself. These people feel intimidating. Sister Talia is much gentler. Still, Lord Suyu looks so impressive. Shauna tried her best to stay unnoticed. Suyu paid no mind to the budding, awkward atmosphere. He looked toward Shauna peeking out from behind Talia. So this is Shauna. You're adorable. Shauna had been spotted. She stepped out from behind Talia, nervous. Greetings, Lord. Hello there. Let me pet your ears. Suyu stretched out his hands and gently grasped her fluffy wolf ears, brushing his fingertips across them. The soft, fuzzy sensation was wonderful. Yeah, all right. A bright blush spread across Shauna's lovely face, letting Suyu stroke her hair and ears. If a stranger had done this to her before, she would have swiped at them with her claws. But now, she loved it when the Lord touched her. So cute. Elise spoke with a hint of jealousy. Nothing more than a beast begging for favor. Are you so fond of creatures like this, subordinate? Day 5. Suyu woke feeling refreshed after spending the previous evening with Elise. It was the 5th day. 1/6 of the novice trial period had passed. He shifted his body, careful not to disturb Elise sleeping atop him. Savoring the quiet morning warmth, he opened the 1 gold shop with his consciousness. Let's see what's available today. Hero. Demon Twin Stewards, Vivian/Lilith Supreme. Unique. Price. 1 gold coin. Trait. Lord of Demons Red Grade. Price. 1 gold coin. Wonder. Inverted Pyramid Legendary. Price. 1 gold coin. Manor Skin. Supreme Sky Citadel. Price. 1 gold coin. Weapon. Gungnir. Spear of Eternity Mythic. Price. 1 gold coin. Wow, my luck is incredible this time, Suyu thought in surprise. Aside from the 4th item, the Manor Skin, which seemed somewhat vague in purpose, the other 4 picks were fantastic. His combat strength was about to receive a massive boost. He was especially curious about these demon twins. Suyu purchased all items from the 1 gold shop. Everything was transferred into his Lord's storage bag. He began examining each item one by one. Lord of Demons Red Grade. Demon residents gain a 200 boost to all attributes and resurrect freely 6 hours after death. Evaluation. My demons are endless, while your troops wear down with every battle. Free resurrection for demon units. Another major weakness had been eliminated. He no longer needed to fear losing high-tier demon soldiers in combat. Training new recruits back up to high levels was always such a time-consuming chore. Inverted pyramid. Rank, legendary building type, wonder traits, equalization, experience gained from defeating enemies is evenly distributed during combat. If any soldier has a lower level than others in the group, that soldier receives an extra 10 experience gain. Toggleable. Unshakable. All your residents gain plus 100 constitution. Evaluation, a useful tip. Station high-level soldiers alongside low-level troops for fast leveling. Experience shared evenly, limited to soldiers. Heroes are unaffected. Lower-level troops get bonus experience. This is perfect. It prevents huge gaps in troop levels. The Wonder only carried 2 traits, yet Suyu was thoroughly satisfied. He moved on to the next item. Manor Skin, Supreme Sky Citadel. Skin alters the appearance of your lord's manor. Sky Citadel. Your manor floats high in the air as an aerial structure and can travel rapidly. Movement does not disturb anything inside the estate. Lord of the Skies. Cloud formations shift to obey your will. You can freely adjust local weather, and defensive mechanisms activate when enemies draw near. Evaluation. What even is this? Can a lord simply flee by taking their manor with them? Suyu stared at the description, stunned. I take back what I said earlier. This thing is absolutely overpowered. Other lords watch their manors get besieged on the ground. I can lift my manor and move away entirely from ground forces. Fighting from higher ground gives a massive tactical advantage. Suyu marveled at its extraordinary capabilities. Next up was Gungnir, Spear of Eternity. Gungnir, Spear of Eternity. Rank, Mythic type, weapon effects, Sure Strike. Strikes will hit the target, regardless of distance. Pierce, ignores all defenses and penetrates through targets. Loyalty, can be recalled instantly, unaffected by any restraining effects. Evaluation, simple description, overwhelmingly powerful effects. What a productive day for loot. Now, time to see the twin demon stewards. Let's have a look. Suyu was thrilled with his haul. He wondered what this final reward would bring. A supreme unique grade hero could hardly disappoint. Suyu summoned demon twin stewards Vivian/Lilith from his storage bag. A soft pink glow flashed, and 2 figures appeared side by side beside the bed. One had black hair, the other white. Both possessed crimson eyes. The black-haired woman on the left wore a crisp white shirt beneath a black butler uniform with a necktie and a monocle over her right eye. Her long pale hands were covered by silky white gloves. Her stunning face carried an air of strict refinement. She wore tailored trousers and leather shoes, with thin black silk wrapping gently around her ankles. A slender demon tail tipped with a pink heart swayed slowly behind her. Her striking figure was tightly framed by the formal uniform, creating a striking contrast. To her right stood a white-haired young woman with crimson eyes, immediately catching Suyu's attention. She wore a black and white maid outfit with an open cut on the chest. Unlike the butler's stern bearing, she had a youthful, sweet face. Her skirt fell to her knees, paired with thigh-high white suspender stockings and black heels. Her expression was gentle with a hint of charm. The two bowed toward Suyu. "Greetings, master." ×2 The black-haired woman spoke calmly and respectfully. "I am Vivian." The white-haired girl's voice was soft and affectionate. "I am Lilith." Lilith looked at Suyu, half reclined on the bed, and asked eagerly, "Master, would you like assistance changing clothes?" Suyu realized the hour was growing late. It was past 7 in the morning. He ought to get up. At 8 o'clock, the official leaderboard for the Lord trial would be released. The rankings evaluated Lord's overall strength, taking resources, troops, buildings, talents, and more into account. As expected of a leaderboard, there were rewards up for grabs. Naturally, players should not expect wonders as prizes. Rewards would consist of resources and Baroque blueprints. Such items were invaluable to other lords. To Suyu, however, they were hardly necessary. Resources. After clearing the golden tier of the Tower of Babel in the trial, millions of every resource flooded his storage bag at midnight each day. He barely bothered collecting them. Unfortunately, his strength far outstripped everyone else. The number 1 spot was already firmly his, impossible to avoid. Thinking this, he rose to get dressed, yet Lilith stepped forward holding his garments. "Allow me to help you change." Very well." This was the first time someone had helped him dress since arriving in this world, and Suyu felt slightly awkward. Once dressed, he headed to wash up, with Lilith following close behind, ready to assist him. Demon Twin Stewards, Vivian/Lilith. Level, Iron 1-star rank. Supreme, unique occupation, Steward/Maid race. Demon recruitment source, none faction. Chaotic neutral hero command bonus. All resident attributes plus 200 weapons. Refined rapier/refined spear. Vivian talent, Master Steward. Vivian boasts exceptional territory management capabilities and can relocate constructed buildings. Once authorized, she may oversee territory administration. Lilith talent, Mastermaid. Lilith possesses outstanding supportive capabilities. When fighting enemy lords, you may directly capture defeated enemy heroes. Special persuasion options unlock within your dungeon, complete with a progress bar. Once full, you can permanently convince captured heroes to serve you. Shared talent, Demonkin. Access to exclusive advancement paths. Twin bond, Vivian and Lilith split all experience earned and share physical sensations. Shared skills, territory administration, spirit garment tailoring, item crafting, plus a full suite of steward and maid abilities. Evaluation, where on earth did these two come from? Suyu nearly choked reading their stats, though Lilith quickly brought him warm water. After drinking, he stared in shock. Relocate buildings freely? That completely rewrites the core rules of the Lord game. Once buildings were placed within territories, they could never be moved. Poor planning meant tearing structures down and rebuilding from scratch. Vivian's talent bypassed this fundamental restriction entirely. Lilith's ability was equally extraordinary. Her talent lets me capture defeated heroes without needing to wipe out the opposing territory. That's another rule break. The game protected enemy heroes. They could not be captured unless their lord's territory was destroyed. With Lilith, he could seize them directly. Imagine an opponent discovering their deployed hero has switched sides mid-conflict. Few could maintain their composure after that. From now on, any hero he took a liking to could be captured. Truly formidable. Thank you for your praise, Master. After breakfast, the other heroes emerged once they had finished washing. Suyu called them outside the Lord's manor. He spotted Elise looking gloomy and walked over to ruffle her hair. What's wrong? You look upset. Suyu treated his heroes generously. When Elise fell into a bad mood, gentle comfort was his approach. Elise froze, cheeks flushing as she leaned into his touch. I'm fine. Closed union with seraphs, closed union with seraphs. New companions have arrived. With more combat power for your territory, what reason would I have to be upset, subordinate? Her jealousy faded with his reassurance. She had sensed Vivian and Lilith appear early that morning. She had simply chosen not to interrupt. She had only felt annoyed their arrival cut short her quiet time with Suyu. Suyu squeezed her cheeks and pressed a light kiss to her face. Elise grew jealous easily, yet she was so simple to cheer up. It was rather amusing. All right, soon I'll show all of you our future new home. I wonder how it will look. Suyu activated the manor skin on his residence. A burst of white light flashed, and the manor vanished entirely from view. Elise, who had recovered from her flustered state, stared at the empty space and turned toward him. What is this? An imaginary palace? Where do you get that idea? The manor is up there. Suyu tilted his head upward, yet he saw no floating sky citadel, only endless layers of white cloud. Wait a minute. Did the sky citadel disappear without a trace? As Suyu glanced around anxiously, Tiamat looked toward the heavens and revealed the truth. It's hidden within the clouds. These mists emanate from the sky citadel itself. You can see it? Suyu asked in surprise. Elise lifted her head, her arrogant streak surfacing instantly as she scoffed. We can all perceive it. You are rather weak, subordinate. If you wish to see it, I can fly you up to take a look. I'm only human. I don't have the ability to see through clouds, Suyu shrugged. He accepted his mortal limitations. Though he said nothing aloud, Elise would learn just how capable he was later that night. Meanwhile, Shauna stood with the others gazing upward toward the clouds. Her ice-blue eyes filled with confusion. Am I weak too? Master, please take this. Vivian appeared beside Suyu out of nowhere, holding out a monocular telescope with both hands. Suyu took it, confused. The cloud cover is so thick. Wait, I can see it. Through the lens, the dense cloud layer turned translucent like gauze. He caught sight of a massive floating island suspended high above, crowned with a grand, magnificent white castle. The sight was breathtaking. He would rate it a perfect 100 out of 100. It's stunning. The manor has transformed into such a vast castle. Wonderful. We'll have room for many more residents from now on. Satisfied, Suyu turned to Vivian and shook the telescope gently. Where did this come from? Vivian answered dutifully. It was crafted with the item crafting skill. The higher our level, the higher the tier of items we can produce. I finished this iron-grade telescope moments ago. Suyu nodded. He knew the twins possessed that skill, yet the crafting speed was astounding. If their levels were maxed out, could they mass-produce mythic tier items with their own hands? Truly terrifying power. If item crafting was this potent, he wondered about spirit garment tailoring. Does spirit garment tailoring offer similar powerful effects? Vivian shook her head. The skill simply creates clothing. Wearers do not need to swap out their equipped gear. Spirit garments layer over equipment without interference. I see. So it isn't combat-focused. So you trailed off, then quickly followed up. Can it craft any style of clothing? Indeed, every design imaginable. Lilith suddenly pushed her sister aside, wrapping an arm around Su Yu's and continuing his train of thought. We possess knowledge of every type of attire. In other words, Su Yu locked eyes with the twins, and they all shared the same unspoken thought. Content with this discovery, he smiled. Ding! The Novice Lord Trial Overall Strength Leaderboard has gone live. Participants ranked within the top 100 can claim substantial rewards. Su Yu opened the panel. A new leaderboard function button had appeared, and he tapped to enter. A leaderboard popped up across the blue interface. Unsurprisingly, the top spot belonged to I'm Not Cheating. This was his temporary ID. Su Yu was indeed ranked first. If he had fallen from the number 1 position, the pressure would have been immense. To the far right of the first place entry glowed a treasure chest icon, flashing repeatedly, as if urging Su Yu to claim his reward. Let me see what the rewards are. Su Yu clicked the chest. Its lid swung open, and a pop-up window displayed his gains. 10,000 timber, 10,000 stone, 5,000 ironwood, 5,000 iron ore, 2,500 steel, 2,500 random elemental crystals, 50,000 random common rations, 50,000 gold coins, prismatic blueprint, fully automated high-power gun turret. The blueprint is the real prize. This gun turret is clearly built to defend the territory, Su Yu commented. He scanned the rankings to see who the powerful competitors were. Second place, Divine Nine Sect, Trading Realm Master. Third place, Divine Nine Sect, Radiant Angel. Fourth place, King of 10,000 Gods Lighthouse Nation. Fifth place, I shall launch the Blitz Deutschland. Sixth place, Lucky One, Take My Strike. Seventh place, White Dragon King. Eighth place, Anime Enthusiast Sakura Archipelago. Ninth place, Raw Bear Power. Bear Nation. 10th place, Bridge Ambusher. Whoa, the Trading Realm Master is that strong. He's second. 6 out of the top 10 are from Longwa. So many talented lords this year. Good thing I have an advantage. I wonder how developed their territories are. Su Yu sighed. None of the names on the leaderboard posed a threat to him. For one thing, the leaderboard measured overall comprehensive strength, not troop numbers alone. He possessed mighty heroes and wonders, and he was certain his first place standing was far ahead of everyone else. Even if he did nothing from this moment onward, he would still remain number 1 until the final day of the new Lord Trial. They could never grasp how valuable wonders and heroes truly were. Newcomer Chat Channel. Divine Nine Sect, Trading Realm Master. I have this massive stockpile of resources and still can't claim first place. Oh, Divine Nine Sect, White Dragon King. I'm 7th. I'm officially part of Divine Nine Sect now. Divine Nine Sect, Lucky One, Take My Strike. Even immense luck cannot claim the top spot. I always said fortune alone isn't enough. Divine Nine Sect, Radiant Angel. Everyone, when I saw my territory only ranked 3rd in overall strength, I knew whoever sits above me must have some extraordinary tricks. Divine Nine Sect, Radiant Angel. I don't know how strong the others are, but I truly command angels. Buddy, did you find some special means? I'm not cheating. That's right, everyone. I secured a few wonders and built them as scenic landmarks within my territory. Divine Nine Sect, Trading Realm Master. Truthfully, everyone, I also gained a special ability, infinite resources. Any resources I currently own can be replenished endlessly. Succubus, succubus, succubus. Begging for that ability. I'll trade an unaltered succubus. Prison Nine Sect, prison fish. Begging for that ability. I'll trade a mermaid. Jejejia. Begging for that ability. I'll trade goblins. I'll pass on the goblins. Not many would want those, Su Yu muttered with a sarcastic huff before closing the chat panel. He prepared to carry out his plans for the day, only to turn around and spot the others having breakfast. Sandwiches, meat patties, roasted meat spread out before them. It made sense. They had not eaten before heading out. I'll recruit more demons first. That 6-hour costless revival ability is incredibly powerful. I need to raise a large force. Troops that can fight without fear of sacrifice should be expanded rapidly. They will become my main army for future conquests. Su Yu opened the barracks interface. 7 deadly sins. Hellabis. Grade, Mythic. Building type, Barracks. Recruit 1 unit / 10,000 gold coins. Ding hidden effect triggered by the Demon Lord passive trait. The Demon Lord trait has a hidden effect. Su Yu was astonished. As expected of a red tier passive, it held undiscovered power. You possess the sin of pride. You may replace the existing sin of pride bound to this barracks. After replacement, the command capability of your sin of pride will be redefined. Additionally, holding the corresponding sin allows you to exclusively recruit demons tied to that particular deadly sin. Confirm replacement? Yes, replace it immediately. Suyu agreed without hesitation. This was a tremendous power boost, and it would undoubtedly benefit Elise. As for the original sin of pride bound to the barracks, he cared not. He intended to enthrone Elise as the rightful sin of pride. Her statue had already replaced the old one, so this position ought to belong to her as well. He wondered why two sin of pride entities existed. Judging from previous descriptions, items available in the system shop likely were not originally part of the Lord game. That made Elise a sort of alternate existence. But none of that mattered. She would soon become the legitimate one. Whoever occupied this position held the legitimacy. Once Elise was bound to the 7 deadly sins. Hellebis, the demon girl who had been slicing food atop floating plates with cutlery, suddenly sensed a connection forming between her power and another force. It feels as though I am linked to the rift within the Hellebis. Elise realized her power connected to the spatial fissure inside the barracks. Within the Hellebis, a mark upon a throne faded away, replaced by her unique insignia. She had supplanted the original sin of pride of the Hellebis and ascended as its new ruler. That's correct. Suyu nodded and continued. I've removed the former ruler and endorsed you as the sin of pride of the Hellebis. Former sin of pride. Who exactly is the usurper here? Show some fairness. Joy surged through Elise, and her demon tail swayed along with her mood. Yet the words of thanks on her tongue twisted under the influence of pride. Well done, my subordinate. Tonight I shall bestow a fitting reward upon you. Who exactly is rewarding whom here? You misunderstand my intentions entirely. It is a worthy recognition of your efforts. I would not offer such a reward to just anyone. Elise flushed and hastily retorted. In truth, she had not figured out what gift to give Suyu. The promise had slipped out without thought, and now she felt troubled. Still, having spoken the vow, she intended to keep it. She must deliver that reward this evening. A promise made by the sin of pride could never be broken. Even if she planned to pass judgment on someone, she would first fulfill any pledged reward before carrying out her sentence. What kind of reward should she offer? Elise pondered. Her gaze drifted casually across the surroundings before settling on Lilith. An idea came to mind. She floated over toward Lilith, her intentions unknown. Suyu watched the blushing Elise drift away, assuming she was simply embarrassed. He smiled faintly, then opened Eli's status panel to check what changes had taken place after the binding.